Both of us can. चालू करी दो हरी बोल
तुझे नीचे रखा था श्री को तो देखिए
नहीं वो स्क्रीन चालू कर दीजिए।
हाँ भाई
वन मोर टेबल
हाँ भाई
Hare Krishna. My audible. We have still have a lot of room in front, so I request everyone to please move as close as possible. I promise that speaker won't ask additional questions just because we are sitting closer to him.
We ask those who are behind.
You think ask people who are sitting at the back. इसलिए द्वारकाधीश प्रभु and Vishakhapriya Mataji, they don't need any production.
What did you?
But just for
You're playing
our purification, right? I'm trying to read few lines about them.
Connect on the channel to get a connection
situated and technically hurdles, get handled. So Prabhuji is postgraduate MD in internal medicine and senior physician at Bhaktivedanta Hospital and Research Institute in Mira Road, Mumbai. Anyone heard about Bhaktivedanta Hospital? Major hospital in Mumbai, taking different material as well as spiritual care of devotees. And Prabhuji is also co-founder, trustee, and head of the Department of Medicine. His spiritual quest brought him in ISKCON in 1982 and was fully satisfied when he read Srila Prabhupada's book and got formally associated with the process by formally taking initiation in 1986. How many of us actually got associated with the process at that time? And Mataji, she got introduced when she was in 9th grade in 1985. And they both got personal association of their spiritual master, His Holiness Sadhana Swami Maharaj. And Mataji took initiation again in 1986. And Mataji is successfully, training at IYS, girls camp, and coordinating all this from last 21 years. We were talking there recently, they called, their girls, 80 girls came from Hyderabad, right, for GV and, for the whole time. And very, special thing, they are the first couple who got married in Radha Gopinath Mandir in 1990. And Maharaj was personally there. And they've been serving as counselors for last 3 decades, and often deeply, deeply supportive. And since installation of Shri Radha Gopinath City in ISKCON Chowpatty, very, systematically, they are part of Grihastha Vision Committee at Radha Gopinath Mandir. Have been guiding hundreds of devotees, premarital counseling, postmarital counseling, all different aspects of Grihastha aspect of spiritual life. They're training hundreds of a lot of couples for benefits because of their association and their wealth of knowledge in that area. They're specialized. With the intent of sharing what they have, they learn, gather over what they learn and gather over the years. They've been traveling in India and overseas, Mauritius, Malaysia, USA, and many other countries. One of their favorite services is acting and directing professional drama. I personally see few dramas that Prabhuji acted. And their annual drama festival. You may watch the beautiful, heartwarming, soul-touching dramas on YouTube of RG Media. Basically, they overall love, being with the devotees. And in the same aspect, they're sharing the progressive spiritual life in form of the today's topic is spectrum, how the spiritual life progresses. So let's welcome by what traditional way, by 3 times loudly chanting. Dwarikadish Prabhu, against Vishakhapriya Mataji ki.
Won't warm it is here. Prabhu the blaster.
Can I also request everyone to please put their cell phone on silent? Would that be okay?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mano Visham Thapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Dhanayam Dadati Swamdantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Avadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Venita Shri Vishakhapriya Shri Krishna Prabhu Dinavanti Jaganpate Omesha Namaste Tata Kanchana Mohanti
Present कर दो माता जी सबमिट कर दो
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Hare Krishna. I want to thank all of you for supporting to serve all of you. To our beautiful temple. So the topic for today's seminar is spectrum. This topic is for those devotees who are on a more progressive mode. The subtitle is Resolve and Refine and how to reform our bhakti. And it is mainly an observational type of seminar where what we see, it is not at all theoretical, as we will see as I speak. We will speak further. But it's something which we see around us in our society, something which all of us need to learn about. Hare Krishna. Yeah. As to how really we keep on constantly improving ourselves, how we can constantly keep on polishing ourselves, how we keep on evolving constantly, right? So how to be in that particular evolving progressive mode, and what are the hurdles which can be there potentially, which may retard this progress towards the vision of Bhagavan. So there will be three parts of this discussion. Part one is the concept itself. The concept is to find out what is the GPS of our consciousness. Where are we as per our GPS system? GPS is therefore designed to tell us where we are, right? Position. So where we are, and share our thoughts on that. Second part to tell us about analyzing the variegations of devotional service. It means like we have a spectrum. So there are various aspects of devotional service. So the varieties of devotional service which devotees perform. We'll talk about that as the main body of the discussion, the main bulk of the discussion. And third is, we'll want to end some important carrying messages which should enrich wherever we are, at this level or that level, irrespective, we should be able to all carry something nice and important which we can use to further our journey. So, first of all, we need to understand that we are all, of course, Maharaj book is journey home. So we are all aware that then our life, and this is not our first life, and it's not our, maybe our last life, but, I don't want to comment on that, but definitely not our first time. So we have been before somewhere, we are somewhere. And I was thinking like that when we landed at Paris, right? I said, I don't belong to Paris. I have come from Mumbai, right? Now I'm at Paris. I'm not going to be at Paris for more than 3 hours. And now I'm going to Detroit, right? So we come from somewhere. We are at Paris somewhere, but we're also going aware, right? So definitely we are in a continuum, what we call continuum, we're in a continuous uh, situation, right?
Prabhuji, this is not moving. Maybe you can hear.
Is there a slight change in that?
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah, Mataji. So,
Mm.
this should move.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all right. So our journey is towards where? Our journey is towards the promised land. This is the biblical term for promised land. What is our promised land? Yes. Our promised land is our eternal home. We are not residents of Mira or Mumbai. We are not residents of Detroit. We are all on that journey, right? And we all, wherever we are, we will ultimately meet at some point of time together. And there will be all in our natural homes, on a habitat, which is our eternal home, the feet of Sri Krishna, Golok Vrindavan. Right? So, and think of a possibility like this. You know, we are traveling and you're at your friend's place, right? And your friend knows that you're going to come to his house, and the friend asks you, hey, where have you reached now? Right? So he gives you a ring and said, so he said, where are you now? So I'm showing the place. So the friend judges, okay, if you are there, then in so much time we will reach at his home. So if Krishna gives us the ring, right? He said, hey, Dwarikadish, where are you now? Right? If he gives anyone the ring, he said, where have you reached? And so based on where we are, and there will be a judgment as to when are we going to return back. So you can see in this slide, there is a blue and the green and the red. These are different devotees who are all at different places in the journey, right? And they all are going on the same highway. This is called the Bhakti Vedanta Swami Marg. The same freeway, the same big, huge marg. It is not much bigger than the American expressways. The huge marg where thousands of devotees are there, but they're not like everyone at different level, right? And we are all moving towards. So we need to understand that Krishna, first of all, is waiting for us, right? And he's more eager to have us home than we are eager to reach home, right? So that's a big problem, right? And that he's eager to have us there, and we are like, right? So he is waiting for us. And see Panduranga is like this. You've seen Panduranga in Pandarinath, Pandharpur, Vithalji. So he stands like this. Jara kata, in Marathi they say, Jara kata var thevuniya, right? And means hand at the waist. That means that position is like, Kapi gaega, where is he? Where is he? I have given him a guru, I have given him a shastra, I have given him everything. Where is this guy gone? So it's like that. So Krishna is waiting for all of us, and it's something very deep to understand that the Lord is waiting for all of us. So, so the concept of spectrum is based on. Prabhupada says like this. Actually, the path of devotional service is one without a second, but according to the devotee's condition, devotional service appears in multifarious varieties. Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So, what is this concept of spectrum? So, for that, we need to understand what is a spectroscope. You know what is a spectroscope? How many of you heard about spectroscope? Sort of physics size, man. But we don't really know much about that. But basically, you take any element and look through the element, and then you can see it will cast particular spectrum. Spectrum is there are 7 colors with your right. So some big red, small yellow, green. So each element will have a unique. So based on the when they look at various metals, right? Based on the spectrum, they will understand this particular metal is there, this particular element is there. So the spectral analysis of every element is known now. So once we look at something and say, oh, this mixture of this and this and then this, right? So each one of us is that based on our individual, we are all human beings, most sapiens like that, but we have different type of consciousness, right? And Krishna looking at all of us, and each one is able to cast a particular type of spectrum of this consciousness, right? And based on whatever has gone inside him over the last millions and millions of years, a particular spectrum which we cast. So how many varieties of spectrum can be there? Spectrum is a range, right? So read this beautiful purport of Prabhupada. It says here, also from the third canto, couple of days, right? Devotional service is the mode of ignorance, passion, ignorance can be divided into 81 categories. Okay, so that means potentially there could be 81 varieties, of spectrum. There are different devotional activities such as hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, offering prayer, rendering service, and surrendering everything. This is our Navadha Bhakti. And each of them can be divided into three qualitative categories. There is hearing in the mode of passion, in the mode of goodness, and in the mode of ignorance. Similarly, there is chanting in the mode of ignorance, passion, ignorance, and goodness. 3 multiplied by 9 equals 27, and when multiplied again becomes 81. Right? So these are the potential part of spectrum is available for anyone on the path of bhakti. One has to transcend all such mixed. So this spectrum of 81 means we're still doing bhakti under the 3 modes. Right? It is not pure devotional service. This is called as what we call as mixed devotional service. Right? It's mixed with some passion, some ignorance, some goodness. When applied towards doing these 9 activities, one has to transcend all such mixed materialistic devotional service in order to reach the standard of PDS. So our goal, we can only reach the promised land when we practice PDS. What is PDS? Pure devotional service, right? So how do we do that? So yes, you can see over here, these are the primary colors. And in the green, there are 5 shades. In the violet, there are 5 shades. In the red, there are 5 shades, right? Each and every color has got shades. So we also are having shades of our consciousness, right? Okay, so this is the basic concept of spectrum. Now, to take it further, we're talking about refining this. So we will also talk about refining our consciousness. Whatever a spectrum is, we want to refine it further, right? Till it becomes pure devotional. Remember that. The concept of that PDS should be always in the background of your mind as we're discussing this. Our goal is PDS, our goal is complete purity of the consciousness. So we may be like a rough diamond. You see the rough diamond is there, right? When you take a rough diamond in your hand, you will scarcely believe this is a diamond. It looks like ordinary stone. Is it a diamond? Really? I don't know. But when you polish it, look at the right side. It can cost thousands upon thousands and thousands of dollars, right? To buy a diamond, a real diamond. But when it is in his mind, it is just like a rough diamond. So you and I are like that. Which one? The rough diamond or the pure diamond now? We are the rough diamond right now. And as we do bhakti, we will get polished and we will shine in the glory of God. We will shine in the glory of Krishna, right? And each one will shine in a different wonderful way. And similarly, the water when it falls from the sky is pure H2O, right? As it passes down, it doesn't remain pure H2O. It will pass through and gather so much of unwanted stuff, right? And therefore it has to be, so you can see that the glass of water is looking dirty, but it has to be purified and then the process of purification, right? So this refining process, our commitment to refining process is the hallmark of a sincere Vaishnava, right? That he is always looking forward to ways and means to keep on refining and fine-tuning his consciousness to higher and higher levels of devotion, right? So with this spectrum concept understood, basic concept of spectrum understood, what that each one has a different spectrum, we will now go into the next part, right? Now, before we go to the next part, I want to make a comment here. that you will see there are various types of spectrums we will talk about. And as we talk about particular concept, I said, this devotee belongs to this spectrum. Oh yeah, this Mataji, no, she's this spectrum. And my Prabhuji is that spectrum. And Prabhu is saying, my wife is that spectrum. Right? So this is not for that. We are not going to, first of all, we want to talk about what is. So this disclaimer is very important because otherwise it may end up becoming very judgmental. Yeah, he was. It is something which we all do. Dear devotees, Radhanath Maharaj, I heard him just day before yesterday before flying back, flying here, I heard him say this, and I heard him before also. He said, every devotee, every sadhaka, and every spiritualist for that matter, has to be having one very special quality for progress. You know what that is? That is called as introspection. That means introspection means, see, why is this important? Introspection means introspect, inspect. Inspect inside is introspection. Generally speaking, we are bahir mukha, na? We are only looking outward, towards the world outside, the people outside. And we scarcely find time or the need or the awareness that let me, peep into my own consciousness. So unless we introspect, we will not know how to deal with the stuff is inside. We will think like that, right? Everything is good. Everything is hai. So we will end up thinking, because we are not really actually seriously looking with a microscope. You look at that with a microscope. She's like that, he's like that. Because I am the guy who's like. So the first quality of humility, this is part of humility. Humility means the strength you have to say, yes, I have the strength to face my inner self. Whatever it is, good or bad, right or wrong, dirty and ugly, I have the power to look inside me. And if we really have the power to look inside, we will see that there are many things we need to, and we cannot be according to the standards expected. See, we all know the standards. Just understand. Nobody here is just a newcomer devotee who came yesterday and he was trying to figure out nice temple. No, you all been part of this family, you are practicing, and you created, right? So by now we are all quite informed of the standards, right? The question is that how much I am aligning to their standards, how much I am in tune with those standards, right? That's what we want to find. That will only happen when you look at our andar jhaan ke dekhna hoga. We have to look inside our consciousness, right? So we will now take a few observable type of, this is observable evidence-based type of presentation. This is something which we observe amongst ourselves, right? So we will talk a few about that. So there's one type of spectrum which we see around us is called intrusive bhakti. Okay. So what is intrusive bhakti? So I'm going to read out this. When other family members, friends, or devotees get too much closely involved to the level of interference with the person's of family, right? So think of a situation where somebody is practicing Krishna consciousness, maybe a single person, maybe a couple, whatever, right? And the people around him who are his family members who are not so committed, maybe not at all committed, maybe not, right? Or maybe there are friends around him whom he has to interact with because the circle which is involved with. And because of their closeness, they have some adhikar, in talking to him about, they have some influence over this practicing devotee. If the relationship is very, very close and intimate, and it is not matching with the other person's expectation of what lifestyle lead, right? What happens is where are they? Are they strangers? They are absolutely close to us, right? And they're saying with a lot of concern because that love is there, concern is there. And therefore, we remain very vulnerable to their opinions, what they are saying about us, right? And if we really do not have the clear power of discrimination, we may start swaying off the direction which they tell us to what to do, right? Swaying off. I remember one example of a couple who recently married, right? And a young boy and a young girl. Very nice devotees, right? Now, the mother-in-law, for example, was a devotee, but she was very possessive of her son, very possessive of her son. And now this girl had come in, right? And she started getting some sort of a insecure feeling that this boy will now become more involved with the wife, and I will lose my my affection, but actually more than affection, more sense of control. I can't control him anymore because someone else is going to influence and probably even to some extent control his life, because husband controls wife, wife controls husband, and we control each other in a particular way which is conducive towards going further. So she felt very insecure, and therefore she started interfering, and they would not allow them to sleep together in different rooms. They would sleep after marriage. And they had to go for a stroll together just after the business hours are over and come home. She would say, "I'm also coming with you." So she would come along the stroll. If the boy comes in home and she gives a glass of water, and the wife's just, this is not supposed to do that, right? And so she would interfere and not allow them to really spend for the time, right? And that became such a big issue. And that became such a big issue in the life that the girls are understanding that this boy actually is not spending any time with me. He is so much influenced by his mother. And she lost, you can say, affection for him. And some other boy came in her life who showed a lot of affection and care. And she fell a prey to that person's so-called cheap love. And she lost her marriage. She had to go for a divorce. And the only reason for a divorce was the excessive interference of the mother-in-law, who also was a devotee. Right? So this is one example. This is not theoretical. Now this can happen even with friends, it can happen with family members, it can happen with anybody, right? So unless we are very clear about our goals, so what would this lead to? This will be beginning of family bonds. Misunderstandings would take place. Lots of trust among lovers will take place, right? So we have to be always on the alert, right? That Maya is so subtle. Maya can come even through other devotees, can come even through our family members. Maya can be extremely subtle, right? For example, in the National Park, I find that Maya comes, the demons come as Vyomasur. What are Vyomasur's shape? What is this? Demon is what? Demons come as a, not bull. Boy.
Yeah, this guy.
Vyomasur came as a calf, right? And Pralamasur came as a covered boy, right? So,
You must have came as a disguise.
who came as a calf?
Vatsasura.
Vatsasura. Vatsasura came as a calf, right? So they have taken form which are looking very innocent, huh? Right? Somebody would trust. Pralamasur came as a covered boy. So how do you trust? Oh, I thought he's our man here, he's just one of us. But actually he was right. So the Acharyas explained that they can come in the form of our loved ones, and they can also, so Maya can be very subtle. Gross Maya means no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxicating sex. That devotees are fully aware and they are quite aware about how to deal with that. But the subtlety of Maya, so how to influence this person, she is on the lookout. What is this person's weakness? If his weakness is for his mother, then the mother can become so the weakness for his friend, then she will use that. She will use some modality, some way or the other to affect the person and see that his journey is retarded. Right? So do not be a sometimes that can happen. It can happen that we have too much effect. So anything which is too much, the affection of a mother is absolutely worshipable and recommended. But you become anything which is, see, we are talking about balance here. Don't get it wrong, right? And anything which is too much and out of balance can become a source of some sort of a trouble, right? But too attached to your mother, you can influence in a particular way, right? And so the boys tend to get more attached to their mothers, right? So rather than building up their friendship and their affection for the wife, right? That it becomes a big center of control. And everything happens in his life based on what is being happening and what mother says. So,
And this is not only for the Prabhu's, Mama's boy means it could be either way, because sometimes we have seen that girls get married, they come into the boy's life, and everything that happens, they will keep communicating A to Z. What time we got up, what time we did this, what this, and he said this, and she said this, and today this happened, and today that. And the parents, not of that type of previous generation culture, that whatever it is, they will keep giving some suggestions. Oh, this is there. Like one daughter called up the mother and said that, he's doing this and he's doing that, and he tells me this and he tells me that. So the mother said, and she said, so I'm coming home back. I'm leaving him, I'm coming back home. So the mother said, no, but I don't come home. I'm coming there. We'll give double dose of the karma to take, And she came and, created havoc in their family. Because instead of, even the values of the senior generation, we are talking from one generation to the next, is not, they also do not understand their limits, what is to be done, what is not to be done. And even this happens so often in friends. In the name of friendship, many times we become so close, we tell everything. We are doing this, we are doing that, and friends and families may not be devotees. Not necessarily. Sometimes they are devotees, sometimes they are not. So obviously the pull is going to be where? Away from Krishna. It's not going to be towards Krishna. So obviously if we apply Rupa Goswami's principles, whatever is favorable for devotional service, we accept. What is unfavorable, we reject. So obviously we cannot reject family members. We cannot reject friends. But we have to do what? Maintain a safe distance. And that might require some sort of intelligent diplomatic this thing, that how you don't hurt the people, and still we do not allow them to intrude in our path of bhakti, that our bhakti gets diluted, because there is all possibility, not that we are so strong that it's going to be easy for us to hold, right? So this is very important thing. Let us not have intrusive bhakti. Our fundas might be clear, but it may be difficult, and that leads us to the second type of bhakti which is there, which is what? Confused bhakti. When there might be a lot of intrusion from people is one thing, but it could be also from non-devotional literature you might be reading. Today's day and age, social media. When you get some disease, you immediately open the net and you see the medicine the doctor has given, or what is the treatment, you want to check it out. And so many times these people come to the hospital and they say, we should do this, we should do that. The doctor will say, not necessary, So no, but who said this? Google Prabhu said this. Dr. Google said that. And the patient is super confused. Doctor is saying one thing, Google is saying something. What should I do? But too much. And before they come, they've done all their homework for days. They'll find out this is good, this, and they will advise the doctor, no, doctor, this is not good. This is good, this is not good. So they try to tell and they become just so confused. Right? So as they always say, that being a devotee is like playing kabaddi. No? Maya is trying to take us, and we are trying to get people to Krishna consciousness. But sometimes in the whole process, this doesn't happen so much we have seen here, but in India, because there is too much close interaction with family, so many functions happen, and the buildings we have apartments, most of them, because there's not so much space. So societies are there. So the whole colony of people is there. Like we have some complex, Kalpataru complex. So that whole about 25-30 buildings, they will form a committee, and then they will have Navratri where they will Dandiya Ras, and they will have Ganesh Puja, and they will, and we'll think, oh, I will get them from there to here. And the whole process, what happens? Sometimes you go from here, they will put 2 dandiyas in your hand. Come on, Devi Ma, this is puja, so do. So this one devotee, we started a small program called a folk program in the place where we are staying, Mira Road. Folk means families of Lord Krishna. So how to get them to Krishna consciousness. With all good intention, he was doing all that, and then after some 1 year or something, he came to us and, Puji, I have a serious this thing. I don't know, they come for one program and they invite me for 5 programs. And their programs start only at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, because after everybody comes from office, and I'm feeling obliged to attend, that if I don't attend, then they will not come for our program. So in the whole process, what is happening? My weekend sadhana is completely affected because I'm awake till 12, 12:31 with them. They are having nice time. But I'm scared, what should I do? What should I not do? So this type of confusion is always going to be there. If my friend invites me and I don't go, they'll break their friendship with me. So I'll become alone over here. So too much of confusion happens. And even many times when we are in devotee circles, there we tend to, it's not always easy to have focused Krishna conscious conversations, right? It's there, many times it happens that you come to the temple and we start discussing about, oh, how beautiful is Radha Gopijan Vallabh. Just see, the dress is so pretty. The yellow and blue combination is there, and the flowers and all. And look at the beauty, today the garland was made by Priya Madhavi Mataji. So beautifully she made this, and we start talking, and then the other person said, yeah, beautiful, but I have a sari of the same combination. Oh, really? Where did you get from? No, I got it in the sale from Kalaniketan, that's nice. You don't know? They have this, and from there to where, from Gopijan Vallabh to where we will reach, we have no clue. And before we realized, the conversation was 5 minutes about Gopijan Vallabh, and then 25 minutes, 30 minutes, it was about us only. And there was no Krishna conscious content to it. Or, it could just be talking about some service. The Prabhuji's meet, and they're talking about some service, this, that, and then from there, you're talking about Janmashtami and Radhashtami and all, and you go into your office work, and it's politics in the office going on, and this way and that way, and so it's very, what do you say, difficult to manage about that. And also, what is talking purely Krishna consciousness sometimes, because we are not on that platform, we do not experience the juice. But more juice comes from what? You know what happened in that temple or that committee member, some politics, some rumor, and that sounds very tasty. Yeah, really? Tell me what happened? Really? They didn't do that? They should have done this, and they should have done that. And you add fuel to the fire, and your mind adds something to it, and it just we don't realize, and then we start having doubts in the process of Krishna consciousness, management issues and everything. And we start having, does this really work, Over here also it is like that, over there also it is like that. And of course, social media is red ever ready battery to pollute our mind and confuse. So many, oh, I saw in that serial of Ramayana, so it didn't show like this, it was something else. And how could Ram do that to Sita? Because they showed it like that. So much of confusion takes place. Also, many times, initially we start reading by Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chandra, pure. And then so many literatures come out, which sound similar names and similar like philosophy. but you never know okay, what type of content is there. Beautiful story of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, that one time he was traveling from where to Jagannath Puri? Somewhere. Vrindavan to Jagannath, Banaras to Jagannath Puri. And he was going there, and one Ram Bhakta, very, very devout Ram Bhakta. This devotee could not stop talking about Ram, could not stop thinking, chanting his name, completely Ram conscious. So he told Raghunath Bhatta Goswami that I want to accompany you. I will come with you and I will carry your luggage also. So that time, obviously, you have to walk the way from wherever to wherever. So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami said, no, I do not like to take service from anybody. I will do it myself. He said, no, he insisted, no, please, please. I will talk, I will not disturb you, I will not distract you, I will talk Ram Katha continuously. And full way, he was talking about Ram. And when they reached Puri, and both of them went in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu gave so much of attention and love to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, but he didn't even acknowledge the presence of this person. Ram he didn't acknowledge him only. So, he's confused. He's such a great devotee. But because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Lord in the heart, he could understand by that the person's mentality was what? That by talking about Ram, by chanting Ram's name, one day I will become Ram. There was a tinge of Mayavad in him, right? So unless you are not very careful, we might feel, we have to broaden our mind. We cannot be narrow-minded people, only Bhagavad Gita, by Srila Prabhupada. There are so many other Bhagavad Gitas available. The Bhagavatam series is there, Ramayana, Mahabharata, everything is there, So why should I not read all these things? There's no harm in reading. But because we are not on that level, we do not know when that sand and sweet rice starts coming. And before we know, our thought process, our ideologies, they subsequently start changing and we don't realize. Contrary example, we have one devotee, wonderful devotee, but she very, over intelligent. Any class, she will always ask some question and always have some little different thought process, okay, why not this? It's a modern world, we should do this. So very much sometimes non-aligning or how do you put it?
Basically she wanted to see everything in the contemporary light.
Yeah, contemporary.
You are very traditional, orthodox followers of ISKCON. So you are like, the hardline type of thing. And in the new ISKCON, we should think a little more in a modern way and see what is happening.
You know what? Yeah, we can read. So many books are available. It will help to broaden the vision, and our children will learn this. And then we arranged that one brahmachari started coming to our center, Mira Road, and taking classes for them. Studying Bhakti, not Bhakti Shastri exactly, but the Bhakti books, actually studying them. And within a year and a half or something, now when we talk to her, we can feel the difference that it's not the same person with that same type of mood and all. She's completely aligning with what Prabhupada wanted, exactly what it said, simply by the right type of association and studying and analyzing the right type of books. So she always, the hallmark of that person, which her friends would say, oh, her, she's a confused type of person. She doesn't understand. But because she started aligning herself like that, things became very, very clear for her. So when we see, that this type of friend circle, or social media is there, or reading so many types of books, we may get confused and diluted in our approach to bhakti. And ultimately, what is the definition of bhakti? Tivrena bhakti yoga. We want to do bhakti in a very not a wishy-washy way, not this lifetime, after 10 lifetimes, what's the hurry? Sometimes we may get that type of approach that, fine, we are on the road now, don't push so much, that's enough, we don't want to do too much more than this. So it happens like that. So what we need to do several times is what? There might be many speakers even in ISKCON. Variety of speakers. Some are bridge preaching speakers. The There are some people who are youth preachers. Who have to, maybe they might be fixed up in their own this thing. But to appeal to that type of audience, they may do that. But if that matters, if sincere devotees also start saying, oh, it is supposed to be done like this, then we may land up diluting and get confused in what we are supposed to do. So we need to fix up, even in ISKCON speakers, some people who, according to you and according to other people, they inspire your bhakti and your eagerness to serve and surrender and develop all these Vaishnava virtues and not take you away from that focus and confuse you more. So it has to be in alignment with this. One is about hearing from some people like that, and even books, along with whatever other books if you are reading, must make it a point that we read Prabhupada's books, because Prabhupada's funda is so clear, it can never confuse us in anything, because Prabhupada has set the gold standard of bhakti. Ultimately, if you ask yourself, why did you and me come to the process, come to ISKCON or come to the devotional life? Why did we come? We were all pious Indians. Mostly everybody is Indian here. We were staying in India, we were pious Indians. What made us come over here? Yeah, but what about Prabhupada's teachings? Right? We were also devoted, but we thought Shiva is also wonderful. Durga is also better. Ganesh ji, so he is wonderful, He will remove all the beginners from my life. Hanuman ji, so many variety, all our parents had taught, Swami Narayan, this and that, and hundreds of things were there. But we found something attractive in ISKCON, that ISKCON is trying to teach me focused bhakti. It's giving me a process, how I should do. Like my mother was a Swaminarayan devotee, and she used to tell me, we should come to the temple. And I would ask her, why? My mother used to go, the temple is a good place. She couldn't give me any convincing answer. They'll say, oh, you should not eat onion garlic today because it's Ekadashi, and they used to follow that. So I said, why should I not eat onion garlic? Don't ask so many questions. You should not eat on today's day. I said, you cannot give me convincing answer. I used to eat double onion garlic on Ekadashi day. Just to irritate her or whatever, Okay, I will do this. Because you can't give me any convincing answer, right? So we do not have that understand. All those things were already there. But when we came to ISKCON and we came and we stuck around, because we found the fundas are very clear, why I'm doing what I'm doing. There's no confusion that, okay, maybe sometimes find this or find that. No. Very clear thinking. Prabhupada always gave a clear thinking about what should be done and what should not be done. One time, Yashodanandan Swami, he was in Hyderabad, and Prabhupada, he came to meet Prabhupada, and he said that, Prabhupada, I'm getting a lot of invitation, I guess from Australia, that, you should come for taking charge of the management over there and all. So Prabhupada, I'm leaving Hyderabad to go there. Prabhupada looked at him and saying, okay, yeah, if you want to go, you can go. But I think because you're a Canadian citizenship you have, like US citizens are not given visa in Bombay. So they have to every 6 months go, come back, and they need to remain. And I'm having so many big project ideas for India. Vrindavan is coming up, Bombay is coming up, Hyderabad is coming up. So many nice things are coming up. So I feel if you can stay here, it will be easier because you Canadian citizens can remain. But these people every 6 months they have to go, come back, a lot of time waste and a lot of money is getting wasted every time apply for visa and this and that. So he went back and next day again he came back and saying, but Prabhupada, they are calling me, they are feeling like that I should go there. So again Prabhupada tried to tell him, that if you want to go, you can go, but it would be good if you could be. 3 days, 4 days this happened. And he just couldn't take a call. He's saying, no, Prabhupada, they are calling me from there. So Prabhupada said, do whatever you want, but I feel like this. So then 4th day or something, he came back to Prabhupada and saying, Prabhupada, I think it is best you tell me what I should do. I cannot decide only, because that is also seeming important. And here the statement what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada gave a broad smile to him. He said, yes, this is what I want to see from you and all my disciples. You just do what I tell you to do and you will be successful in bhakti. It's so easy, na? Many times you are in confusion that ye kare, what to do this or that. But if somebody who loves you Who cares for you? A person, it could be a senior devotee, Vaishnav, your own family members. And they tell us, do this and think, oh God, yeah, it makes so much sense. It's so easy. Why am I always a confused person? Right? So sometimes it is very easy to be a follower, provided you follow the right person. Hmm? So now that we have decided that I want to have a master, the spiritual master, then we never need to have confused bhakti. It's very easy for us, how to do. So Prabhupada's books are always there. Prabhupada never writes anything hanky-panky thing, that, okay, sometimes this, I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. Nothing like that, Prabhupada will always say what? You don't know? Then you listen to what I'm saying. Prabhupada was very straightforward. And we were just hearing Maharaj's class recently, and Maharaj is saying, so many spiritual masters are there. They are themselves so confused what they can give their disciples. And some spiritual masters say that I am God. Some spiritual masters will say you are God. And some will say we both are God. And some will say nobody is God. There cannot be any God. There is no God, form of a God. So many types of, and we are just so fortunate. Out of the millions of people, we have got the fortune of coming to the right place where bhakti process became so easy for us to practice, isn't it? We are all joyfully enjoying, but sometimes when we don't do these things, hear from the right source or read the books regularly, maybe when we became devotee, we read Bhagavad Gita. After that, I have read Bhagavad Gita. So now what is again to read, or Bhagavatam, but it's not that we are Shrutidhars, we will always remember. Whenever there is those devotees who are very regular in reading Shastra, Prabhupada's books, and those who hear regularly from the spiritual masters, they will never be confused. Their intelligence is so clear. They always know what is to be done and what is not to be done. And sometimes it appears very, shocking that, oh, how they always know the right thing to do. They always know the right thing to do. It's because of this reason. And also often practicing digital detox and restricting our screen time, which is the biggest challenge in today's day and age. Especially it has happened after COVID because there was not so much to be done. So, we have to indiscriminately things keep popping up in the screen, which could land up confusing us. What is to be done, what is not to be done. So to whatever extent we can make these practices. Recently, somebody gave a video of a village where the headman of the village, the sarpanch they call, he saw that his sons are so addicted to the video, they can't eat without looking at the mobile. Nothing. People, guests come home, they are still just in the mobile only. They are not doing anything. And like our Nandaniketan Prabhu was sharing, Prabhuji, where is he? Okay. They get so, he was saying, when I was coming to India before, there was so much noise in the local trains and all, but now trains are all silent. Why? Crowd is same, but everybody is busy with their own mobile. They are not, no time to talk or interact or anything. So the sarpanch thought that how to help my child. So because he had that position, he decided that he will make a rule of digital detox in the whole village. So every day evening from 7 to 9, he made it a rule that you have to have digital detox. So everybody in the village knew that 7 o'clock, a siren would go. So everybody, they would just put away everything, take up their books and read. They would talk to each other, they would eat together and have a nice time and all. And slowly the villagers themselves started realizing that, oh, this is good, we are missing out on all this just because of this stupid mobile. So then they themselves started increasing their digital detox time. And this is so wonderful, that as the head of the village, he could do that. But we find ourselves so helplessly, magnetically attracted. Sometimes you have to force yourself, let me put the mobile somewhere aside, because when I'm doing something important, message will come, should I see that urge, that itch? It's not very easy to do so. Practicing some digital detox in whatever way at our family levels, maybe we could help ourselves also, our children also. Because psychologically, also psychologists say that too much of screen time and digital, the intelligence level goes down. Because like a dumb zombie, we are just stuck there, from one to the next to the next. You don't know when to stop. It is, when I was a kid, I would never know how to spell banana because it was banana. Where does A-N, how many N's come? I could never spell it only properly because it was very difficult. So it becomes like that only, and that's why they call serials. It's like a serial killer. One episode, a second episode, it just keeps. Then they end at such a time. Ravan came to kidnap Sita. If that Ramayana is there, it's good, but other things. And at the right time, the serial will end. So tomorrow, how did he kidnap Sita? You are attracted to see. So they know how to play psychological games with our mind because we are like that, and it takes away our intelligence. It gives us takes away the sharpness and makes us very confused people. So to whatever extent we can help each other as a community, or when we meet also, we could ask each other, okay, how's your digital detox going on? Like how's your Ekadashi fast going on? Like that, fasting from this. We could help each other. We don't even realize that we are so much into it. Okay? We need to work on it. It's become a norm now. So to avoid this type of confused bhakti, we need to see that.
Remember in the earlier part, in the 80s and 90s, the temples we were at, and even watching television was a very strong advocacy that this is a source of Maya. And by watching television, you may not be performing the 4 eggs in terms of breaking them, but by seeing those things on the screen, actually you are sort of indulging in those activities. We were enjoying. And what is on the screen? Usually there is some amount of violence, some amount of illicit relationships, some amount of this and that going on, right? So what we see in ISKCON today is that the amount of strictness which was there in the 80s and 90s has now gone down, right? So, the force of gravity is very important to understand in this, that by gravity, everything goes down, right? So unless we as a group, when I talk about group, is unless we as a community understand that our process is so valuable and time is so less and we have so much to achieve in Krishna consciousness, right? There is no just time for wasting, on this sort of activities. There is so much we need to do, right? So, and once we start television or see this screen, etc., sometimes hours just pass by, and at the end we find out, what did I really do with my time? Was it the best use of my God-given time? Right? Our devotees are supposed to practice the quality of the Kalatvam, where he values every moment that Krishna gives them. It is supposed to be for his seva, right? And being more Krishna conscious. But rather, I have squandered this time in something which is very unproductive, right? So these are some thoughts we want to present to you, because these act as very powerful dilutional factors. They dilute. It is not, these things we're talking about will not destroy our bhakti. Like they're not gross, right? But definitely they will make a lot of dilutional impact, where you will slow down. You will start becoming more comfortable. You will start becoming more relaxed, right? So are you getting the point? Are you getting the theme, right? So and we move on to the next common type of bhakti, which is observed, is called a stressed out, stressed out bhakti. And as we speak about it, you'll realize that this is something also very quite observable. Devotees, like anyone else, are affected by stressors. What is stressor? The ability to create stress is called a stressor, right? What could be anything, depending on our stress threshold. Some stressors can be overwhelming and put us off balance and manifest in unfavorable ways, right? So we're living a very difficult life. Modern world living is not easy. Definitely, there is so much we need to do, the job, the family, Krishna consciousness, etc. So there are so much of things, and the time is, we said time is less, and we just talked about not wasting our time. But then we said there is no time, but we may be all wasting time and all. But anyway, so stress is such a thing. See, nobody can have a stress-free life. We are not about a stress-free life, right? But we need to be conscious that there are some stressors which can affect us and put our consciousness off balance. So you must have seen in the house many times that we are stressed out in the home or maybe in the office. And when the stress in the office, where does the stress come out as in the house? When you come, what happens to you? You become very irritable, very snappy, right? Anything the wife says or husband says, you just sort of practical, you snap at the person and say, I told you not to do it. Sahi se baat karo na. I'm just talking something simple. Why are you, just reacting in such a heavy manner, right? So our stress comes out in a way where we become angry, our threshold goes down, and the stress is so heavy, it manifests as uncontrolled reactions to something very trivial, right? And the relation, the family gets affected, the children will see it, the children they become the target of our stress, etc. Right? So the stress can affect our temple relationships also. Here, you come here and you are like in a bad mood, in a bad thing, and the way you interact with devotees, it become up in a very ugly manner also, right? So this is very common nowadays. I find even patients coming up and said, "Sir, can you do something? I don't used to be like this before, but somehow while I've seen I've become very irritable. I become angry, right? And I try to control my anger, but it's not able to control my anger. People actually started complaining and understanding that this is actually a psychological change happening in people's lives. They may come with backaches and headaches, that's one thing, but they actually simply are getting more and more irritable. So modern life is so tough, it's so demanding sometimes, physically, emotionally, financially, right? That actually you are not able to handle the whole thing and you just burst out and become very, very, very stressed out. Right? Now imagine somebody in the house having sickness, right? You have elderly parents in the house, right? Who are, some of them may be, very demanding. They may be in bed, they may need the diapers, and they need this, they may need so many times to go to the hospital for checkups, etc. So a prolonged one sickness, like a small sickness, cough, cold, fever, malaria, dengue fever, comes and goes. But somebody is having paralyzed stroke, somebody is having cancer, and of course, cancer may get cured, but often not get cured, and person may leave the world after maybe 1 year. But till 1 year, imagine the stress is there, the financial load, everything else. So we can get very, very stressed out on so many. These are very practical, day-to-day, real life situations which are there, right? And sometimes even too many programs, right? Today, Dwarikadish is giving a Bhagavatam class. I have to go there. And he's giving an evening seminar. I have to go there, right? So you may be just getting stressed because we are here. all your activities at home are getting affected. So now he has come, so we should attend. How will he feel we are not there, etc. Right? So we have speakers coming in from various places, temple programs. Sometimes immediately say that please don't come this week because we already had 2 Swamis coming last week, and the congregation already is little feeling some pressure now. So come after 1 month. Like that. So we may have given commitment to the temple, right? I will do this, I will do that. So we are already stressed out in the office. There's so much to do. Jobs are insecure. The dollar is something wrong with the dollar. Something happening at the political level. Laying off of, people are getting laid off, etc. And then all the stress is there on you. Plus you're getting a lot of. So to retain your job is such a difficult thing, right? Just to keep your job on, just to see that you have something going on, and then you have temple commitments which are there, right? So then what we're talking about is basically the work-life dual balance, right? So unless we really introspect and make proper planning of our life, so we need some amount of planning, right? We cannot be always pulled and pushed in every direction. Something we may have to learn to say yes, and something we may have to learn to say no, right? Because the body and mind can only take so much and no more. Right? So when you overdo your capacity in a particular field, right? We have to know what is absolutely necessary, what is desirable, what I should not do. The must things, the desirable things, and the no things, right? If everything becomes compulsory, then you just cannot handle your stress, right? Somebody will say desirable, like that, right? So we need to categorize those things like that. So we need to have our own mechanisms. So let's not think that devotees do not get stressed out. We are also like anybody else. Now
I
people
think we
who,
get more stressed
we get
out
more stressed out sometimes.
because the karmis don't have 16 rounds to finish. We have 16 rounds to finish.
That- So yes, that
His, my mother-in-law was telling the daughter-in-law, at this age, you are so stressed out, and look at us, we are like this. So very humbly, that girl had to tell after repeatedly telling that, mommy, you never had to chant 16 rounds in your generation, but we are devotees, we have to chant 16 rounds, which takes an additional thing, right? We have that experience that the days our morning japa is done, we are distressed. But the day japa is left, I have to finish, and it never gets over only. So that stress plays on our mind as an additional stress.
Yeah, you're gonna vow to your Guru Maharaj, so you cannot even imagine that you will, nothing like carry forward. Today I've done 10, tomorrow second I had 6 tomorrow, and I'll do 16 plus 6, so 25 tomorrow. So devotees are not,
And
not
devotional activities themselves, like whenever you come home and you are expecting some guests to come home and still ready is not done, and what everything is fine between the husband and wife, but then just because some Vaishnav, maybe your Maharaj is coming home and still you are stressed out just because you are about to do some spiritual activity, nice thing, but you are stressed out, You're going for some DT welcoming and the partner is not ready and the children are cranky and all that. Nonsense people, always you make me late, I have to go there and start the Abhishek. Who'll blow the conch shell if I'm not there, and whatever. That stress is there, and children get papa, papa. I have to finish my japa, You don't see I'm chanting right now. So you are stressed, the stress comes out, the mother has not finished rounds, and husband says that there is no, there is
we have seen people offering, who'll bring the offering, You have to go out, you make the offering. I don't give the offering, you should do the offering, right? So before the offering takes place, there is a lot of debate as to who will do the offering, because, and then, so this is like, see, all of you are laughing, so it looks like it is a moment, right? Who will make the offering, and you are in a rush to go, and, tu kar de, main ja raha hu, so like that. So these are all commonplace things which happen, and it's very funny, right? We can laugh over it right now, but when it really happens, we really get really pulling our hairs out, right? So these are all very supposed to be sweet activities. We're offering Krishna and ringing the bell, chanting mantras, but actually we're thinking, when can I get over with this and to the next thing? Right? So, so we need to, as devotees, again, the same thing. This is all commonplace things. These are not unusual in our life. These are commonplace things happen to all of us. How does a devotee get de-stressed? We will have to figure out as a community and as individuals, ways and means which in a very healthy way, right? Somebody can smoke a cigarette and feel that option not there for us, right? So people smoke for what? They to distress themselves, right? They drink in a glass of red wine or something, and then, right? But we're not talking about some unhealthy ways, we're talking about healthy ways. So well, you may have to figure out this music of Madhav Prabhu now when he plays now. And in my case, so Damodar Prabhu works magic. So Damodar Prabhu. Yeah. So Gil Govind that he has series has got. Of course, my nature is not to get too much stressed out. And Vishakha is a great planner. So she keeps my life also because I tend to be more in the hospital, but she somehow restricts me from going too much involved there and keeps my life. She's a great planner. She's wonderful because we have so many things going on. But she plans exactly the day in particular way. So, but if I do get Strauss, I said, Vishakha, just put on this Kirtan. And I hear Kirtan in a sweet melody and some nice bhajans. My adrenaline levels, my cortisol levels start coming down. And I feel, yeah, I can handle this now.
Everybody has a different thing. For me, if I'm stressed out, I just close all the windows, curtains, and go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's not worked up too much. Like we were coming over here to the US, and because Maharaj suddenly came to Bombay, that was unexpected, so many programs, and we had not finished packing, and we had to leave that day evening. But somehow, because I was just so stressed out, so many things had to be done. But I just closed the doors, windows, and went to sleep for half an hour when all the clothes were out and I not done finish the packing and all. But I just said I have to do it. Otherwise, my quality of this will not come out. I had to de-stress myself. I just had a glass of cold juice, just on the AC, just went to sleep. And somebody would come and say, "This is a mad girl here. Sleeping at the, they have to leave in the evening and, she's just sleeping, but that's my de-stressor, I have to sleep.
Just a comment on financial also, as devotees, we do plan our devotional life. And my commitment in the temple, I will do dressing on Saturday, I will do Sandhya Bhavan, on Sunday, and we get involved, and we should, we definitely want to encourage them to do that. And nonetheless, we do not plan our finances many times, right? And major reason for devotees stress sometimes is either health or finance,
Or well,
right? Health or wealth, correct? So, therefore, in our case, of course, there are some devotees in Mumbai who help us, right? So hopefully there are people who we are also sort of in their field. Everyone has to have somebody to help, somebody in legal matters, somebody in medical matters, somebody in financial matters, somebody is to really take help from, right? So take help. You have planned your life in a particular way that as you move forward, you are increasing your, your support systems, you're creating a balance for yourself, you're creating something for the future, right? So when the children grow up and they have their own demands for marriage, etc., education, then we are prepared with the additional load which will come at that time, right? So do not, in the process of Tibrana Bhakti, our Laukik Dharma, right? We have a Sanatana Dharma to follow, and we have a Laukik Dharma to follow. It is so important that we keep, so Krishna has given us two eyes in one side. Why given us two eyes? Why not one on the forehead, just single eye? Because one eye is supposed to be on the ground level to see what's happening in the here and now. One eye is supposed to be at the level of the transcendental. The goal ultimately is that, right? So when you're driving a vehicle, right, like all of us drive a vehicle, so you are basically concerned about the speed breakers of the here and we don't have so many speed breakers, but in India, there are more speed breakers and roads, and you know that. So you're also looking at what's here, but you're also conscious of the place you're going to go. So you're also handling the toll and everything else, filling up the gas. So that is the here and now. But the ultimate goal is to go somewhere, right? So therefore, the here and now is the Laukik part. Ultimate goal is our promised land. And when you do both the things properly, then we remain less stressed out, right? And if there are things which are really very difficult sometimes, just opening a heart and sharing with a trustworthy person. So if there are at least 2 or 3 friends which we have, where you are really getting too much stressed out in your life, just a simple call with somebody said, what, I don't know what was happening to my life. I'm really out of control. I lost my sense of control in my life. So just sharing with a loved one, right, and ventilating yourself, that's part of the community activity. That in the community we need to have devotees who we can just go to somebody's house and just pour out, right? Either cry it out or speak it out or sort of get it out of a system. Will you vomit it out? But he's getting out of a system, and just by sharing that with a loved one, right? Sometimes that could be with husband and wife also. If somebody is stressed out in his workplace, he just comes to his wife and says, what's happening here and there. He just comes out of it, he's not asking for any suggestions, but he just speak it out. It's out of a system. Correct? So these are all practical day-to-day things which we need to, which are real things. Correct? So as I said, devotees, please try to live a more regulated life. Plan. Thakur Bhaktivinoda is our Grihastha Acharya, and if you read his biography, you will see that he spent a lot of time on a daily basis planning himself. Right? So as I say in financial language, like if you fail to plan,
we plan to.
Right? So we need to plan our week, our month, etc. So just planning finances, activities, budgeting, some amount of planning has to be done. Again, plan your time. How much time you want to give for something, some activity, right? Something we have to say yes, something we have to say no. And more important than anything else, for as far as health is concerned, see that you get an adequate amount of sleep. Sleep is nature's God given, Krishna given de-stressor. And you will see that the night you don't sleep, next day you're off. Right? You just keep on throwing up things, right? Just because you didn't get sleep, you don't know what's happening. But the moment as you said, by sleep, she gets back to normal, right? So that's crucial 7 hours of sleep which everyone would need. Maybe roughly from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. right? Or maybe if you're sleeping at 9, then 4 a.m. right? But 7 hours sleep is 6 to 8, they say, but 7 to 8 hours is what most of us, even scientific people, say that we need that sleep. because that is the way the brain relaxes, the body relaxes, right? Sometimes just not enough nutrition may be there, sometimes deficiencies of vitamins will be there, so and have take medical advice and see that we take this. Now, in the midst of all of this, there is no time for bhakti yoga, but now, actually now life becomes so stressful. So some amount of practicing actual hatha yoga or yoga pranayam will also help, right? And sometimes devotees, devotees have tried various things. Then our swamis and GPCs, they just practice 10 minutes of relaxation. So one devotee was sharing with me as a counselor, he was saying that, Prabhu, when I'm, he's a professor in a particular medical college, right? So when I'm exhausted from my teaching and programs and this and that, I just practice for 10 minutes Shavasana. Shavasana, you heard of Shavasana, right? Yeah, we just relax the body. So he has learned it. He actually did some course from somebody else who was an expert in Shavasana. And it is that 15 minutes of Shavasana was equal to 3 hours of sleep rest efficiency, right? So that instead of getting 3 hours of sleep and wasting my time, I just Shavasana 15 minutes, negative my energy, right? So there's some techniques are also there. There's a technology where the body can relax in less time, right? So yoga nidra and other things are there, right? Now, our chanting may not distress us, but let's not put in the category of a stressor, right? Chanting is our survival. Chanting, when we chant good rounds, it actually gives us power to handle stress properly, right? Even though we say the 16 hours are stress, we don't see it in a negative way because it is our actually connection with the Lord. The actual time with Krishna, right? Is our sacred time with the Lord. So that good chanting of rounds will prevent what we talked previously, the confused bhakti part. When you chant nice rounds, Krishna from within the heart. Now, part of what we're talking about also needs activation of Paramatma in the heart. When Krishna sees that he is devoted to me, is practicing sincere bhakti, with whatever resources he has in the money, time, family responsibilities, he's practicing sincere bhakti. I can see this. Krishna is in our heart. That actually the Lord from within the heart gives us signals. So much of a devotee's journey to the promised land depends also on how he activates the voice of the Lord in the heart, who gives signals from within of what is good and what is not so good. Right? So keep in touch with your inner conscience, as they say. Right? Okay.
How many of us sitting over here are devotees here?
Was that a confusing question?
There are two concepts. One is that some of us think I am a devotee, right? And some of us think I am trying to be a devotee. What is the difference between the two? Faith and conviction. Yes. When you think I'm trying to be a devotee, we are always trying to be in a progressive mode. That how I can. Anything else? I mean, since the time is short, otherwise, we have a whole list. But when we start, it's always safer to be in the mode that I'm trying to be a devotee than to think we are devotees. We always, they are not devotees, we are devotees. So what is the effect of thinking like that? What happens to us? Several things happen. One is that we get into this niyamagraha thing. You know that what do you say? Upadeshamrit, nectar of instruction. One of the things is niyamagraha means what? What is the meaning of niyamagraha? Bhakti Shastri. Doing for the sake of doing. Many times we end up doing that. Doing things for the sake of doing. That's when we think niyamagraha. When we think that we are devotees, we feel I am already a devotee. So whatever has to be done, I just keep doing, but we stop growing, right? Another thing that happens is that many times we start philosophizing things, over philosophizing rather. And we say ultimately we have to be practical, Prabhu. We cannot get just we have to be practical and do this. Third thing, which is very important, that we become off guard. Everything, I'm already a devotee. So what can happen now? Some people told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, the only problem with your disciples is that they are not sufficiently scared of Maya. He said, no, we have to be sufficiently scared of Maya, but we said devotees are supposed to be daksha. Daksha means expert. But Maya is super daksha. She is super expert, in what she has to do. And there are tailor-made obstacles which she puts. As kids, have you played hurdle race? How many of us have played hurdle race as kids? So on a sports day, everybody has that, right? And is it that for every candidate there's a different hurdle? No, same hurdles are there. You have to jump over this, you have to go under that, and then you have to, get into a sack and jump on the sack and go. Same hurdles for everybody. But Maya is so expert, she has different hurdles for different devotees. Imagine how much planning she does. So she is very super expert. So what happens that when we start feeling in our mind that now I'm a devotee, and not only a devotee, I'm a Maha devotee, I'm a super devotee, now I'm a senior devotee. When I was new, okay, but now I'm a senior devotee. In fact, I'm guiding so many devotees under me. So many people come to me, they call me, they take my advice, guidance. So I'm a very great devotee now. What happens because of that? Many times we become off guard regarding our own thing. We are just so busy in trying to, do things for others that we become off guard in our own Krishna consciousness. And due to that, what happens? We land up speaking more and hearing less ourselves. Many times we will see, that somebody is giving class, we feel, okay, what new could be there? We know all this, or I also speak all these things, So we become a little bit the mode becomes what? We want to speak more but hear less, right? Fifth thing that happens is we become neglectful. We start neglecting what? Small details which were very important in our Krishna consciousness in the initial days. Like I remember myself, and sometimes still it happens to me. When I became a devotee, I used to, Mahaprasade, Govinde, Nam Ram, the whole mantra, whole prasadam prayers you say. And after some time, so prasad has come, you start honoring the Krishna. And Prabhuji had to tell me, where is it? Say the mantra, at least you should do that. So we start neglecting. Apparently, they may appear like small things, but they're important things which we need to do. In this way, we just end up going on an ego trip. And what happens? That we become, because of our neglectful nature and off-guard thing, we get into the tendency of dual standard bhakti. What does dual standard bhakti means? That we pose ourselves as something else. Rather, we don't even pose, we are convinced we are like this. We are great. So then, behind the screen, at home, what I'm doing, nobody knows about it. Right? So, before we joined ISKCON, we had some unholy practices which we were doing. And maybe doing, maybe we may be doing before. So, after a few years of Krishna consciousness, of thinking that we are senior devotees and we are devotees and all, the old habits come back in us. Old habits, they start coming back. And you really need to, unless you work on it, you just fall victim to it. Whatever it might be, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that is why we talk about what? Shaktasur, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained. Shaktasur is what? Old habits coming back to us, which we don't even realize in a disguised way under the name of devotional service or under the name of whatever. We land up doing all that. And many times we might land up in dishonest dealings because we think if we are senior, who's going to question us? Who's going to ask us? So we secretively might be having dishonest dealings with people. We may even fall from moral standards. Basic morality which is expected out of anybody, common person. We might land up being lax on that also. And there could also be character deviations, right? Because again, we are lax that I am senior, If I do something, it's okay. But can we trust our mind? It was not for no reason that Prabhupada made strict rules. Butterfly principle, that, you should take care of that. And we try to philosophize and justify it under the name of devotional service. That I have to do that and it will not affect me. I am elderly. I still remember, many of you must be knowing Prabhu, very senior elder Vaishnav. And when we joined Krishna consciousness, we were what, 16, 15, 16-year-old girls. And at that time, he was 50, 45, 50-year-old. So when we would want to go to temple and our parents were not favorable, so they would not come to pick us up and drop us. So sometimes long distance drives and so we would tell Mahaprabhu, okay, Prabhuji, can you please drop us home from the program, late night program. He's saying, akele nahi. I will not take you alone in my car. Get your other friends. Get your friends, then only. We girls used to think that he's like our grandfather, father figure. So he doesn't trust himself. But he was so cautious. He will not take chances for that also. Never know what our mind is. So I'm just giving an example.
So this is something which is sometimes a serious type of spectrum in our bhakti can take place, right? It is very surprising and yet something which we cannot neglect in our society, that there are fall downs because of, again, going back to our lower nature. We want to shoot for the higher nature. Higher nature means that goes towards elevation of consciousness. But a lower nature is not destroyed fully. It is not fully inactivated. And Saktasur can attack the lower nature and lower nature becomes activated. And lust can become ignite like crazy, right? And we give into that and we fall, sort of victims to pornography again, and prostitution and abusive behaviors, extramarital affairs, etc. Right? Something which we hear, and it is not uncommon that our sincere devotee can really also fall for these things because he has not been alert, unless we introspect, right? Unless we introspect ourselves and we be on the guard, right? We have to be always vigilant. A warrior, we are on the Bhakti Maharaj used to always say, a devotee is like a spiritual warrior. Now you go on a war front, can you be casual? Just look around, just look at the sky, look at the birds, and look at the nice sunrise. You are in a war, right? Anytime the enemy can shoot. So we are in a war. Prabhupada said, when we become devotees, we're declaring a war against Maya. Can you even imagine fighting against Maya? Right? She is so powerful. She is the most powerful force in the creation. And you're trying to challenge Maya. Unless the complete shelter of Krishna in complete utter humility, right? You will fall victim to Maya in so many different ways. And this is one of the powerful tools she has, right? Our low nature, our sex drives. We cannot forget the example of Kala Krishna Das in this. We are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful, the most kind, the most beautiful personality, and his personal servant. Can we believe being a personal servant of Mahaprabhu Chaitanya, right? And being with him, going everywhere. He's seeing Mahaprabhu making elephants dance in Dwarikadish and doing all sorts of miracles and spiritual ecstasies. He's seeing all that. And yet, when the Bhatta is allured, Kala Das, he becomes attracted to women. And he joins their camp practically, right? And he is lost. He was lost. He had a major fall down. Mahaprabhu to go and actually rescue him. That's another part of the story. That's how he was saved, how he was again rehabilitated in his bhakti. The point is that even if you are with God physically, right? So even being in the temple and doing deity worship, whatever doing, unless Maya is so powerful, right? And therefore, I heard one lecture of Radhanath Maharaj the other day where he says that the most important sloka of the Gita, right? Like a mission statement of the Gita is which. So I was just thinking, wow, what sloka Maharaj quote now, Mission statement of the Gita. Heard that phrase ever. So then I surrounded slokas and so many important slokas. Maharaj said the most important sloka is Devi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Pratyaya. Mama Ve Prapatyante. Right? Unless you take shelter of Krishna, Maya is so subtle and so powerful. She can sway anybody, right? So we had in our society and in the in spiritual society, people having moral deviations, right? So morality is actually the beginning of spirituality. Morality is something which is expected to be there. It's more about human values. It's not even purely spiritual, and yet that is expected to be there, right? We expect to be there that we at least become moral, and from moral, then we gradualize towards devotion, right? So it is, we did not have, we must remember that along with our bhakti, we cannot think that, okay, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'll be pardoned for my deviations, right? And we will not be pardoned for deviation, right? So, as for whom much is known, much is expected. So we know more about the reactions of foreigners of this type. And if in being in full knowledge, if you make wrong moves, then we are asking for big time trouble in the laws of karma. Right? So let's pull ourselves back and said, okay, my mind is cheating me, Sakra should have become activated. So again, as I said, without introspection, you will never really take the steps. You will, because we'll play a dual, when said dual standard means externally appears, we're nice devotee, doing temple worship, doing kirtans and giving lectures and programs, and secretively behind the screen is entertaining a ghost-like deviation in his mind, right? And therefore, big problem.
That's why it is very important for a devotee to have a very open lifestyle. And open means not that, you keep talking about your life, but there always must be 2 or 3 mentors in our life in front of whom we can be threadbare without a fear of being judged, or we don't need to put up a facade or something, because if we lead a secretive life, we are only digging our own grave. Nobody will be able to help us. Nobody will even know. And if we want to do that, then Krishna will help us also to keep for some time. And you'll be able to maintain that image in front of people. But who is at a loss? So the reason for discussing all these types of bhaktis is only this, that we think we are doing bhakti. But under the guise of bhakti, we might be doing any of these varieties of bhakti. So wherever the shoe fits, we need to wear it, whether we are senior, junior. In fact, at our temple, when we were all given the service of counselors, so Maharaj said, don't think because you are our counselors, now you are the topmost authorities. If we should also have some counselor, like a super counselor type of thing, because there should be somebody whom we have some difficulty. We have something, we should be able to open up. We cannot open up to the juniors, that what they will tell. If we are in that position given of service, but there has to be somebody where we can reveal our mind and take help. So sincere devotee will always want to take help. That I'm going through this difficulty, okay, even after so many years. So confession is always appreciated because that is honesty. And that is one of the legs of dharma. That unless we are honest in what we are doing, where is the question of bhakti also? We are cheating God, we are cheating Guru, we are cheating ourselves, and that cannot go under the definition of bhakti at all. So, and also luckily, in Kali Yuga, secrets don't remain for a long time. We have to be grateful for that. Somewhere or the other, as we say, that every criminal leaves some, what is it? Some clue, okay, where evidence. Somewhere it will be found, and then it will be very, very, that you are already into so much of deep into some mess and it comes. So we must be very, very careful about this. Okay? We cannot do anything secretive in Kali Yuga. By Krishna's mercy, he will not allow that also, because he loves the devotees, right? When Indra went on a wrong trail to correct him, the whole Govardhan Leela took place. Because why? He loves you. So Krishna loves us because sometimes we have told Krishna in some moments of sincerity that, I want to be yours. So, oh, you said it? Biggest mistake of your life. Now I'll take care of everything. If I have to, even though might have to go through humiliation or disgrace, but ultimately I will make sure that you come to me, right? And that's Krishna's grace on us. So why even get into that mess? Let's have a very open type of thing, and that is why very often our Guru Maharaj used to stress what you should leaders especially or devotees and senior devotees, they must perform visible service and visible sadhana. We may keep doing at home, but to do something visibly so that other people are also seeing, that is also important. And in case we land up making some mistake, there must be a genuine fire of repentance, not just a show of eyewash for people that, oh, I'm sorry. After time, we don't even feel sorry. So what? There are some devotees, they do wrong, they come to know and they will justify to their partners. So what? I mean, this is not such a big offense that I have done. You don't even feel that you're doing wrong. Where's the question of proceeding further, And as we said, taking shelter of trustworthy mentors. And also, when we feel those moments of weakness in us, let's not deny that we have some sincerity in us, So in those moments of weakness, we realize that I'm not able to control myself. I'm falling prey to it. Whatever it is. Bharat Maharaj fell prey at the stage of Bhava platform he was. Right? So who are we? So unearth and everything is only going on stage. So, unless we realize this pitfall that could be in us, we need to genuinely take strength from what our sadhana. And that to visible sadhana, we must try to do as and whenever we can do in groups. Other days may not be possible daily, but we should try to come forward that somewhere we have developed close relations, that somebody will observe some, little bit of spectrum change in our life, and they might be able to correct us and save us from calamities before it gets too late.
Hare Krishna. Is it becoming too heavy? Is it becoming too difficult to handle? I hope not. Right? Huh? It's very practical.
As we tell every year, this is how sometimes we analyze ourselves. What's happening? We are okay, na? Where are we going? You correct me. So then we like to share with our friends what is there.
Yeah. So we have a few more types of bhakti. Even though 81, we won't taking 81. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
So when I say 81 hai, khali 4 hi hua hai. Are you going to make us sit up for the whole night or what? So we are taking only part of the spectrum of what is, as I said, observable around us, and therefore we are sort of opening it up for our own deliberation, self-deliberation, self-exploration. So immature fanatic bhakti, one of the type of bhakti which we have seen, we may have even practiced ourselves, keeping unrealistic and impractical standards of Krishna consciousness at home with close ones. An overzealous attempt to apply many principles of Krishna consciousness without consideration of Desha, Kala, and Patra. So you you may have seen this, but what we see when we travel is that, okay, the boy is married, right? But he was not very keen, or he didn't get a devotee girl. So he married somebody from the caste or whatever, right? Somebody with the parents wanted to get married. So what is the first concern now? What is the first concern? How to put that kanti around her neck and how to make her hold the bead bag. That is his primary concern. He wants to see that, and that happens. So, and he will start preaching to her and say, this is not good, this is not bad. And so all stuff which he had heard in the temple, all that he had heard over the years, he wants to download everything on this new lady who has just come to the new house. He's getting to sort of get a feel of the parents, the in-laws, the sister-in-law, and everybody else. And here the husband is like one by one giving us some heavy doses of philosophy. ऐसा नहीं आता है, हमारे में ऐसा करते हैं, हमारे में वैसा करता है, आपको ऐसा नहीं करते हैं, समझते नहीं है, this and that. And the girl can do it also. So I'm using for example because I'm a boy and she says a boy. So I'm not a boy, sorry, man. But it can happen on both sides. So don't misunderstand when you say boy or girl. It can happen on both sides. And therefore, when we are in such a situation, of course, right, we have done this in our family also, right? When we are young devotees, we used to practice bhakti in such a fanatical way in the house. And we all have, we used to go to the temple many times, and parents did not know, and used to speak lies and library पढ़ रहा था, right? So, and then to find out that this was not a library, and when they got angry with you and all those sort of things, and they got so mad with you, and said, you are not listening to me, I'm your father, okay? I'm a mother. You should say, which mother are you? I have millions of fathers, millions of mothers, right? And then they hold their fist, their hand, and they give a tight slap and say, this father was slapping you, that father. Have you seen? This is the current father. Okay, the past father. So we all have gone through some fanatical bhakti, right? And where we were like super enthusiastic about applying everything without the adhikar, with understanding of who, what, when, kaisa, right? Just that overzealous, raw, immature, newfound so-called joy or knowledge which is there. And now everyone in the house should become a devotee, right? So this is something which can happen, right? We are over enthusiastic. And this, when they see this fanatical type of thing, and does it make the people around in the family happy? Somebody like that. We know we have the Krishna conscious activities, but it is just because it is done with such immature attitude, right? The people in the family get really, really, so sort of unhappy that with the whole thing. And therefore, there can be a lot of conflicts. Even there can be a lot of conflicts with the loved ones, right? Bartan is, they keep the vessel like this only, you don't keep the vessel like this, right? And this is a Juta vessel, and this is a Sacha vessel, and So all sorts of things can happen. So every small detail which you have learned in the simple, you have to now have the whole thing done, in your home, right? The highest standards has to be there. Not possible, not practical, not feasible many a times, right? It takes many years for the whole family to really absorb that level of commitment to Krishna consciousness and practice a particular standard. Till that time, you have to be. People may become very antagonistic. And rather than, see, Krishna consciousness ultimately should bring peace to the family, is it not? When you practice Krishna consciousness, you are practicing bhakti. It's a very beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and that should make you happy, people happy, because then now you become more light-hearted, you become more friendly, become more forgiving, become more tolerant, become more, kind and affectionate. These are all which should start coming out. Rather than this thing happening, the family is having is going crazy, right? Pagal ho gaya. Pagal ho gaya, of course. So this sort of fanatical behavior has to be avoided. Yeah. So the remedy is be patient with people. Be patient with people, right? Do not be overzealous in making somebody a devotee, because their hearts have to actually be transformed. The best way to really preach to loved ones, what is the best way to preach? Is it about philosophy? Just be a good example. Be a good example. Take extra care in being more kind and more affectionate. So that people should see that, oh, earlier he was very rash and rude, and now because he become a devotee, he become very sober, very kind, very affectionate, very forgiving. And see a change of behavior. So behavior always changes people's hearts more than words. Right? So the only way to change our people at home is to see that we behave in the expected way as a Vaishnava.
Because fanatic way never works. We had one father, and he had two sons, and they asked the father that, Papa, we want a cricket ball and a bat. He's saying, ball and bat. Jiva Goswami only used to have Krishna Balaram DDs. I'll get you Krishna Balaram DD. Ball and bat, we need. That is not going to make you Krishna conscious, You have to be fully Krishna conscious. Poor thing, small boys are there. They are still just growing into this thing. And they became so hateful to the father, The basic, we are not asking for a golden ball and a golden silver bat or something, It's just a plastic ball and bat we are asking. But the father was so fanatic, So now after so many years, he shares that, what type of injustice I did to my children, that I made them so antagonistic towards me by not even providing the basic needs. So in the name of Krishna consciousness, I really misfired by being fanatic.
Right. But after newcomers and make this on a joyful process. So people should start seeing that this is not a process where everything is, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. People think, what is Krishna mein kya karte hai? We don't eat meat. We don't. So is it Krishna consciousness to not eat meat, to not have eggs and fish and animal? Is this Krishna consciousness? We actually have a very joyful process, right? We have something which we hear, we dance, we chant, we worship Krishna, we hear about the Lord, we go for outings, we go for yatras, and the whole process is so joyful. Even Ananda Kant. So let people perceive religion, at least in our religion, Krishna conscious religion, as a joyfully susukham kartum, what we call Krishna is saying, that people should perceive that Krishna consciousness is a joyful process rather than the process of no, no, no. It's not about no, it's about more positive and a few negative. Right? Okay.
This is a wonderful this thing. It is known as sub-religious bhakti, right? Everybody is laughing before even elaborating on it. Okay. In the whole Vedic spectrum, as we would call, the Vedas has a whole spectrum. They all come under the Vedic, what do you call that?
House of Vedas.
Yeah, in the house of Vedas. Everything is Vedic only, nothing right or wrong. And here what we are talking about is over-dependency. Is horoscope a Vedic science? Of course, right? Vastu Shastra is a Vedic science? Yes, of course. Yagyas and all, Vedic science? Of course, right? All these are Vedic sciences only. We are not talking here, they are not Vedic sciences. But sometimes we get so much overwhelmed by the whole spectrum of these things that bhakti becomes a little bit on the side. That, okay, chanting is there. So Prabhupada said that chanting is this thing, but still you have to be practical, this is there, that is there. So here comes our challenge, that is it overindulgence or the small thing here and there, there's no harm in it. Like we do premarital training program and we do for boys and the girls also. So the obvious question which everybody has in the mind, horoscope, what to do about the horoscope? So of course you should show the horoscope. But sometimes they will not even meet the boy or the girl just based only that horoscope is not matching. Horoscope is not, and now they become 37, 38-year-old and saying, we didn't meet because horoscope was not. How much are you expecting? 36 plus 36 is going to be there, 36 points. Then so that person will never be there. You'll have to, Brahma will have to create somebody of that guna to have that. But at least if little bit it is matching, then meet the person and see, you have Paramatma in your heart, they have Paramatma in your heart. If nobody is forcing you to do something, but why not explore? But because that block is there in the mind that no, the main thing is what? Only horoscope. There were some devotee parents who had little bit of challenged children, and the horoscope said that the child will not survive for long. That this particular year the child is going to leave the body, and that whole year they were just expecting this month the child will go, this month the child. Out of anxiety, that whole year they were in so much anxiety, and after that the child lived for 7-8 years. After that, but then they share, that stress which was caused by this particular thing, that Vastu Shastra, very good. We must see Vastu and do it. Not that, you just enter, but some people break major pillars and walls and everything. Where the toilet is, they will make the temple there, and where the temple can be there, they will make the toilet over there. And, such major, they keep on doing. And then after that also sometimes some things go wrong. And so what, we should break walls or our head? What are we supposed to do, So it becomes like a very confusing thing when what happens? Where there is overemphasis on that. Salt in food is important, but you cannot eat salt as sabji. Right? There are spices which are important. Chili is good, but you cannot have a bowl of chili. Or lemon juice you like, so you cannot have a glass of lemon juice, pure lemon concentrate. Everything has its own place, and everything enhances the flavor of our bhakti, provided it is done in the right proportion. given the due importance what it deserves. Because what happens because of doing this? One thing is it makes us slacken our faith in the process of bhakti first. What is the process of bhakti? What is the main process of bhakti? Krishna is in control. Ultimately, Krishna is the controller of everything, right? No doubt, all these things are under Krishna's control only. But then, when Krishna is saying when a devotee claps his hand, so many of the things keep changing. You are not under the control of horoscopes, or you are not. If Krishna wants, in spite of, and very beautiful example is what Prabhuji always likes to share is, okay, imagine there might be so many brahmacharis all over ISKCON, hundreds of brahmacharis, right? Take their horoscopes and let's make a statistical evaluation. In so many of their lives, it must be written, that they are supposed to be married and have 3 children, 2 children, but they are brahmacharis and they are now 60 years old, 70 years old, not that they're going to marry now or anything. What happened to their horoscopes? If they are supposed to be, maybe in some sannyasis horoscope also it might have written, marriage is supposed to be there, but because they took to the process of Krishna consciousness, they could what? Overcome and transcend all these things, influences in their life. Isn't it true? So anything as a devotee, anything which could help us, it could be a supportive thing, it's fine. But anything that would slacken our faith in Krishna and make us have faith in these are ultimately go under what? Sub-religious principles. We all have read Bhagavatam, first canto, and in that, there is the conversation between Vyasadeva and Narad Muni, right? Vyasadeva wrote all this Vedic literatures, Upanishads and Vedas, and so many things he wrote. But when Narad Muni met him, he said, you don't look satisfied and happy. He told him that I'm not feeling satisfied. I wrote so many things, I'm not feeling that. Then what did Narad Muni say? What did Narad Muni tell him? Exclusively and sufficiently, you did not glorify purely Krishna as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why one of the things of bhakti is what? Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. Karmakand is there. Jnanakand is there. All these things are there. And there are devotees who could remain at that level. Fine. Nothing wrong in that. But if we want to do what was expected to be done, which is what originally attracted us to Krishna consciousness, because Krishna consciousness was being offered as a pure devotional service, which is higher than anything else. As we said, everything has a spectrum. So they also come on the Vedic spectrum. But where do they come? If they are happy at 40%, 60%, fine, that's up to you. But a progressive person always wants to go higher on the spectrum. I want to go closer to the 80 mark. I want to go closer to the 90 mark. So when these things come in our life, and sometimes it happens, that being ISKCON devotees, suddenly we start speaking too much about all these things. Okay, this has to be done, and because you have not done Kal Sarpa Yoga Yagya, that is why this is happening. That is okay. You could do the Yagya also, but not with that so much of not with so much of full focus on that. Okay, now some people will try to advise you, okay, you should do Bali. So you are not getting a child, so you go to the astrologer and say, then you have to give Bali of somebody else's child so that you can get a child. Now, is this all these things they just try to do? Tantrics also, some people go to tantrics and all. So what is tantrics? Many times they are like pest control. Pest control. You do in the house, the person does and goes. For some time there are no cockroaches. But after some time, double cockroaches start coming because they put something in it in such a way that you will have to keep calling them again. Their business depends on that. So they will clear it, but there is a time gap that for 3 months, no cockroaches will come. But after 5 months, 6 months, double cockroaches will come. They will say, no, you have to regularly do it. They lose their candle. So same thing happens with all these Jyotishes and tantrics and all. They will put some doubt in your mind. हाँ, some वो बोलते हैं ना वहम का, there is no medicine for a doubt. You know, you are happily going around everything, and they will say this is because of this, and the whole thing changes. Oh my God, this and that, and the most ecstatic kirtan is going on. Spiritual master is thinking, but we are thinking, oh, but the astrologer said that. Seed of doubt. They just have to. So they say no, that sometimes these people they play on the fear by planting these seeds of doubt in our mind, and it slackens our faith definitely, because one devotee we met and they were saying that we know that maybe this house is not vastuically true. So many things are going wrong in our life. Our relatives are also telling, "Hey, change the house and all, you change the city, or because this you are not doing properly, show the astrologer this. I think, but we know that whatever it is, ultimately Krishna is doing in our life. Smaller changes we have done, what was in our scope of possibility, but we are not going to make such major these things, because we believe that Krishna is there and Krishna will take care of it. He loves us and ultimately he is the controller. So we don't want to lose our faith, and we don't want to make our mind superstitious all the time, then, and it becomes a tendency. Anything happens, let's go and show the astrologer. Did you show your patrika to the astrologer? Everything. There are some devotees, we are not talking of people, even devotees, who will not even start their journey before. They are business people, they travel so regularly, but they will not start their journey before, oh, Thursday I should not travel, Tuesday I should not travel. But the meeting is there on Thursday. What will you do? You will not travel. My astrologer said that I should not do like this, right? So all these things, what happens? No harm, but it helps us, it makes us become what? Defocus our mind from Shuddha Bhakti. We are talking of pure devotional service, and it bring, deviates our mind from all of that. So there are so many examples in our scriptures also of people who did not do that. And a very beautiful example, we don't want to take too many, but the first one we will take is of Raghavendra Rai. Now, how many of you all know who is Raghavendra Rai? Narottam Das Thakur, you know, right? During his time, there was a very demoniac type of person whose name was Raghavendra Rai, and his son was Chand Rai. And this fellow was like a terror. He used to loot people and eat meat and so much, almost like Jagai Madai type. So the Yamraj also had conversation of, okay, what to do with this Chand Rai? I mean, we don't know. The father was bad enough, but the son is worse. Plus, Baap ser to bacha sawa ser. So he is like nonsense. He is doing all these things, right? And somehow or the other, ghost haunted his body. And his father Raghavendra Rai was so much concerned about his son. Okay, all this wealth I have, everything, but my son is not normal. What should I do? So he called this one and that one, and called tantrics and everybody. And this tantric came, and the ghost within Chand Rai killed the tantric. And then one astrologer came and he said that you were looking for cure for your son. You should go and approach Narottam Das Thakur. He is a great Vaishnava. He will be able to help you. So Raghavendra Rai, by then he was so exhausted. He told his people, go and get this Narottam Das Thakur somehow or the other. So Narottam Das Thakur, merciful Vaishnava, compassionate, he came to the house of Chand Rai. And then he just meditated on the Lord, and he requested the ghost that, please, why are you affecting him and disturbing him? Release him. And at that very moment, he was a Brahma Rakshas. Normal ghost, nahi, super ghost. Brahma Rakshas is very dangerous type. So when the ghost left his body, it spoke. And he spoke to the Chand Rai that, what did he say?
Not important.
Yeah, no, not important, but I was just looking for the exact word. He was telling that why are you affecting him? Just serve Krishna and become a devotee of Krishna, and everything will become all right. And when the ghost left, Chand Rai fell at the feet of Narottam Das Thakur, and he accepted him as the spiritual master. So he gave him the mantra, and then he just started chanting. And this Chand Rai had been such a terror to all the neighboring kings and all. So one of the Muslim kings, he came to know, okay, Chand Rai, that fellow who had always tortured us, has become a devotee. He has become soft now. So now is the time to attack him. So one day when Chand Rai was just taking bath in the river, local river, he sent his men, he captured Chandrai and brought him to his kingdom. And Chandrai was not that original Chandrai, otherwise he was like a hero, thrown away everybody. He just went to this thing. And that fellow, he put him in chains, then he started telling, you did this to me. I will do this to you. And he beat him so badly and he imprisoned him in a dark dungeon. Now, this news reached his father, Raghavendra Rai. So Raghavendra Rai sent a tantric to him. So the tantric, through his tantric shakti, he made a tunnel from under the jail. And he came out into the prison of Chandrai. And he told him that, I have come, I am giving you this mantra, chant this mantra, and by chanting this mantra, you will get out of the jail. You'll be able to get free. And what answer did Chandrai give him? He's saying, my guru has given me a mantra, and I have full faith in the power of the mantra of my spiritual master, and I don't need any other mantra. And as far as my suffering, it's wherever Krishna wants me to be, I'm happy to be in whatever situation it is. I'm not looking for some material solution. I'm happy, but I have full faith in the mantra of my spiritual master, and I don't want any other mantra. I don't need any other mantra. Such a beautiful example that how pure devotees think. So as again we are saying, please take it in the right sense that we are not talking of, not to do something or do something, but do it in, give importance to all these sub-religious things to whatever extent. Yeah, even at installation of Krishna Balram temple, right? When it was there, they all said, okay, we should call, big pandits and this. So Prabhupada said, so that people are happy with it and it is acceptable by people, we will call, but simultaneously we want our devotees to chant. And for me, that is more important than these things. Even in the final days of Prabhupada was sick and some people sent messages that, you call these Brahmins and tell them to chant Mahamrutyunjay mantra. It might help Prabhupada to come back to health, whatever. And Prabhupada told him that is not necessary. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is enough. So several examples. And what is Shuddha Bhakti? One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. With faith and love, one should surrender unto him. That is Bhakti according to what Prabhupada taught us. Right? And this is the last one. We have time or 5 minutes. So the seventh one is what? Complacent Bhakti. Right? What happens is when we come to Krishna consciousness, we are super enthusiastic and we are like shooting stars, We want to do this. Beat bag, where's my beat bag? It's chanting time. We are so eager to chant. Any service. Yes, Prabhu, what can I do, So somebody else has asked for some, can you get the broom? You'll run and get the broom. Somebody has asked for water. Okay, Prabhuji needs water. Water. Everybody will run and, all of us will get water. But after some years, it will be, Prabhuji wants water. Prabhuji wants water. Prabhuji wants water. Somebody go and get water. It just becomes like that because we feel, one devotee was saying, we were making jokes during yatra. You have to carry that big sound system. So with the sound system, people used to be in the front. And then that person started, same person, but you start coming a little behind, carrying the sound system. And then you say, some new people can carry the sound system, It will encourage them, but it was not because of that. So, just to try to give away a service to somebody else. So some level of inertia and easygoing thing comes in our bhakti, right? And what is the signs that manifest in that? That how do we know that we are becoming complacent in our bhakti? Few signs come. We see that, oh, you are coughing, some symptoms start manifesting. Your BP is going this thing. Maybe this is happening to you. So you do check up and all that, right? Some symptoms will start coming. So what are the symptoms which would indicate to us that our bhakti is becoming complacent? Nobody is going to come and say, hi, now is the stage of complacent bhakti. Come to me. We don't even realize it. So some of the symptoms is what? We were just trying to analyze that late night rounds. Rounds start getting pushed. We used to finish before late night rounds. No time for good quality association. Association is available, but we say, where's the time? I mean, so many things to do. Even, I have to do this and I have to do that. No time for quality association. No seva connection to the temple. Slowly we start feeling, that I have to focus on Dwarikadish, who said, I have to take care of my family. Some place it happened like that, So I'm very active devotee. Every year he used to be there doing so many services. 1 or 2 years we went, we didn't see it. And then we asked the temple president, who is saying, Prabhu, he quotes you, that you said that you should take care of your family. But you have to quote in the right context. So he said, now I withdraw from all my services. I'm only going to do this. Stay at home and just do that, right? So no seva connection to the temple or the mission. We feel it's enough. I'm chanting 16 rounds. I'm following 4 regulative principles. I read Bhagavatam at home. Once in a way I go temple. That's enough. But that like how a devotee feels, that what can I do for the mission? More. Can I do something more? Can I do something more? That's a sign of a non-complacent devotee, an enthusiastic devotee. Infrequent reading of Bhakti Shastras. Our reading time also goes down. And I have already read that newness factor has gone. And infrequently we read. As and when we get, sometimes we read, sometimes we don't read. When Prabhupada said regular Shastra reading, whether you are Grihastha, Brahmachari, Sannyasi, whatever, because that will keep our power of discrimination on in what we are supposed to do. So infrequent reading, rising desire for material enjoyment. We start getting a little bit of more. As we say that along with our, you suddenly start feeling that there is a need. The needs, our material needs go up, but we stop focusing on our spiritual needs. Our soul also has some needs, right? But we focus more on the material needs which are there. And material desires suddenly start developing. Okay, I want to do this and I missed out on it while I didn't do. And sometimes those material desires come out on children. That when I was young, I did not do all these things. Let my children do all these things. So increasing material desires come. We all understand what is material desire, what is spiritual desire. So we have to be feeling, oh, my material desires are increasing. I have to be a little careful. Increase in non-essential screen time, which we have discussed already. And, we return to bad habits, pornography and all. And getting too enamored by the glamour and glitter of material science. Whatever is happening in the material world. So when some of these things start happening, we can understand that we are taking a little bit of backseat in doing bhakti. Whereas Prabhupada was always wanting that all his devotees should be what? Sense of urgency. There has to be a sense of urgency. We don't know. As I said, the COVID, many people, even not devotees, they become a little more alert. Okay. Life is too short. We don't know when this thing. Anybody was expecting that COVID will come. Young children, so many people have just left unexpectedly. And we say, oh, I'll do bhakti when I'm old. But when are you old? Just before death. And when are we going to die? Nobody knows when we are going to die, right? So that we cannot be complacent in bhakti, what we are doing. In fact, when Prabhupada gave sannyas to somebody, and the people were telling, that why are you giving sannyas to these young people? So Prabhupada said, I don't have time. I am on war. They say in war, every 5th person is made a lieutenant. Maybe you are qualified or you are not qualified. Every 5th person is made into a lieutenant. So he's saying, I am on a war. War with whom? With Maya. So we cannot afford to be complacent, right? So what happens when we become complacent? There's resurgence of desires for mundane pleasures and distancing off from fired up association. Slowly you will see. We see that in Bombay. Sometimes there is very concentrated association available in different areas. So the devotees will think that maybe that locality is better. So I want to shift to that place. Why? Because there is not too much devotee pressure, not many prying eyes are there on you. So we try to go away from fired up association, right? And attitude of just posting along. What's the hurry? Everything we know about it, it's okay. All the time is there, right? So what we could do when we feel ourselves, I mean, this has a lot of content, but I thought it's all daylight going on. It's darshan is closed. We have to stop. So we need to practice eagerness and gratitude for this rare jewel of bhakti and become actively involved in whatever projects that are locally available. That will keep us always active when we do tangible service. Otherwise, just following four regulative principles and chanting, that anybody can do at home. But if we want to remain activated, we should take on more responsibilities for the mission, for the temple, for our local leaders. So then, and we also need to increase association with fired up devotees involved, because when you are with fire, you will become fired up. If you are with ice, you become cold and flat. Simple principle. So if what we want to do, that depends on us. I think.
The last 3 minutes, we'll just wind up, 9 o'clock already. Just meditated on this three facts which we have written down. This taken 8.6 billion years. Long years for this world to experience the supremely powerful mercy and process of achieving bhakti. Is there anything more rare than this? Right? All that we talked about having in our life, right? And as Prabhu says, it's all chewing the chew. Trying to get something which we already have gone through in many lifetimes. But the rarest of rare things is available to us right now in here. It has fallen into our lap. This rare thing has just come into our lap, right? And yet, if our mind is still thinking of other things and the confused bhakti or the immature bhakti or the dual standard bhakti, right? So we'll be wasting our time. There's nothing more rare. So let's develop a sense of urgency because we won't get a second chance. It has taken unlimited sacrifices of our Vishakhapriya and rivers of tears of Srila Prabhupada and to make us eligible to get the rare gift of Shuddha Bhakti, right? So this is so pure, we cannot allow our mind to cheat us and settle down for something inferior, because anything inferior will keep us within the realm of the street of this world. Shuddha Bhakti is the only modality when practiced gives you an access to go to the spiritual world. Anything less than pure will keep us revolving around and around in this 14 planetary systems. It will not take you out, right? So we have the facility to follow less than pure bhakti. That's all right, right? We should know the consciousness will be and we still in this world, right? And maybe the heavenly planets, whatever, will be somewhere in this material world going through the usual stuff which is there, right? But if we want something to Acharya work hard to somehow keep nothing in Kali Yuga is pure. Imagine nothing is pure. Water, the air, the food, nothing is pure. But we have the purest of pure things available. How very rare. If it's like a rare jewel, we don't want to lose that thing, right? And the ultimate fact is that without the bhakti, our souls can never be fully satisfied without the awakening of our intrinsic. We are all ultimately lovers of Krishna, right? And Krishna is what? The emperor of sweetness. Madhuradipati, right? So all attribute of the son of Nanda Maharaj and beloved of Sri Radha, right? And so therefore, let us understand that our hearts are waiting and hankering to taste that sweetness of Krishna. As George Harrison was saying, my sweet Lord, when will I see you, when will I be with you? It's taking so long. So Krishna is waiting for us, and we want to respond to his call and want to allow none of these other so-called important things to really affect and retard our journey, right? First of all, Krishna consciousness works, but we have to make the medicine properly. Problems start when we give up the process, right? The Mahamantra is there. Let's start together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
We just end with this one line, which I really loved it, and I would like to share with you. It says, one life is all you get. I don't know who quoted this. One life is all you get. And if you do the right things, then one life is all you need. Beautiful, right? One life is all you get. And if you get the right thing and you do the right thing, then one life is all you need. So let's do it.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry to keep you all so late. We didn't realize. Time.
Questions? Everyone's only hungry now. They're hungry or angry with us for keeping us so long. Right? Sorry for doing that.
Whatever you all decide, we are okay.
Thank you very much for amazing class. I don't have words to express about gratitude. So thank you very much. I know it's little late, but
No, we are in jet lag. We are
there
okay.
is but we still want some questions. About it, we have some
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, I have a, but I'll let them ask first. Anyone like to go?
Your bhakti. Pure bhakti has, we have taken various definitions of pure bhakti, right? And one is Anya Balakshita Shunyam. Jnana Karma Dhyanavara. Anupurina Krishna Shunyam. Right? And other one which is given is Sarvapadi Vinil Mukta. Saparvam Nirmanam Rishikina Rishikisha Sevanam Bhakti Uttama. Another definition. And third definition which I learned what was given to us was Ata Bhumit Jashreshtas, Varnamash Varnashma Vibhagasaha. And that one which gives you the facility for something the Haritoshanam. When these three things are kept in mind, this three all actually, as per Rupa Goswami, constitute what is called as Siddha Bhakti. So when you keep this in mind, and many things become clear, that, for example, the horoscope and everything else become very clear because many things are under that. It is sub-religious. It is Parigunya Vishaya Veda. Mitragni Bhavana. It becomes the source of wisdom. It is Vishma Bhavana.
What is going to be mentioned with respect to doubt that some take or some other people they put doubt for their benefit or strength in their side. How can we use this doubt in our bhakti process to strengthen ourselves?
You understand? How can we?
This doubt, because we always have someone the doubt for process. How can we use this for strengthening our
Use this.
Question is because we come from the religious bhakti, right? Tantric, horoscope. So because of that, we have some doubts. ये होगा या अच्छा होगा या बुरा होगा. It is Krishna conscious process to remove those doubts and strengthening.
When our pandas in Krishna consciousness are clear, then there is conviction in whatever we do. For example, when Prabhupada was in America and that whole moon launching mission was taking, man went to the moon. And the whole world is talking about that. Man went to the moon, man went to the moon. And Prabhupada is just taking Mataji and saying, this is not true. Man has not gone to the moon. And people were feeling, that because they had just become devotees, that is this old man gone crazy? They are showing it on TV, it's everywhere in the media. And Prabhupada is saying they didn't go to the moon. So some devotees left Krishna consciousness because it created doubt in their mind that Prabhupada doesn't know everything or Prabhupada is deficient. So what they did, they left Krishna consciousness, and subsequently after so many years, NASA and everybody, there are books published which were not made so publicly available that man never went to the moon. And Prabhupada didn't even, he just said it matter of factly. Like when you know something, so suppose you have to come to Farmington Temple and somebody says, at Farmington Temple there is Radha Madhav deities. You say, no, there is Radha Gopijan Vallabh. So, no, there is Radha Madhav deities. But you know for a fact there is not Radha Madhav. So Radha Gopijan Vallabh over here. So you can say it, you can bang your chest and say, hey, it's Gopijan Vallabh. That's your conviction because you know Krishna. You know things over here. So Prabhupada was so convinced about everything. How he became convinced? Because of his practicing bhakti himself and because of the Shastric evidences which were there. So the more we read our scriptures, the more we hear from the right sources, these things will not create doubt only in us. Doubt comes when you don't know whether this is right or that is. But when I'm very clear that this is there, this is black and white is white, then there is not doubt. I don't know whether we are.
See, the reference point is Prabhupada's books. Let's be very clear. The reference to test, like when you want to check gold, want to check anything, there is a reference point. This is pure gold. In reference to that, this is 90% gold, 80% gold, like that, right? Similarly, when it comes to our bhakti standard, the gold standard for us is Prabhupada. So we, as ISKCON followers, would do a lot of good to ourselves if we were to scrutinizingly read Prabhupada's books. The moment you read Prabhupada's books, things become so crystal like the sun, practically. So anybody says something, whether a tantric says or this says or that says, you just have to match up what was Prabhupada's view on this, what was Prabhupada's stand on this. If it is matching with what Prabhupada is saying, go ahead. If Prabhupada says something else, you may reconsider again. It's not worth following that, right? So we need to know what our founder has taught us, right? So many of us, because we do not read Prabhupada's books so carefully, scrutinizingly, we go into a state of confusion where this also looks okay, that also looks okay. Those who have read Prabhupada's books properly.
That's what we spoke about overindulgence. Some small things might be needful to be done. That's okay. We're not saying that don't do it like that. But overindulgence means sometimes people will give them so many mantras to chant, that all that. So the whole morning goes in chanting all those things. Doing this yagya, doing this puja, looking at the sun, looking away from the sun, looking at the so many things that the chanting is the last thing they will get time to do in the day, because then the day goes on, right? So this doubt is such a weapon of Maya. For non-devotees, Maya will tell you that don't take up to Krishna consciousness. It's not worth it. But for devotees, what it will tell, Maya will tell, take it easy. What's the hurry? You are going too much, and then she will put some doubt, which happens so many times. At Prabhupada's time also, some people started poisoning the mind of devotees by saying that actually, Prabhupada is not giving you the highest thing. Is he telling you what is your Swarup? Is he telling you what is your Siddha Swarup? No, he's not telling you, because he doesn't want to give you everything. He's holding back something. You come to us, we will tell you what you are. You are a peacock in the spiritual world. Then you will start, I think they are peacock. What difference does it make?
It did happen.
Yeah.
Yes, we are laughing, but it did happen. People actually went and then they were told that you were this. They started jumping like peacocks, and trying to fly, literally trying to fly because I'm a peacock, right? So,
So then it was told that how does it matter to you right now whether you are a peacock or you are a monkey or you are a grass or you are a cow or you are a gopi? That's Janani Prabhu was asked this question in a Bhagavatam class, that Prabhu, how do we know which stage of bhakti we are in? This stage, anartha nivriti, or how much time it will take, And beautiful answer Janani was gave. They're saying, I'm too busy serving Krishna to think about all these things. I just want to do what my spiritual master told. Like, see, they never thought that I have been devotee for so long. Now when I'll get sannyas, we are brahmacharis only. We'll die brahmacharis only. We should get, where is progress? You measure progress by these external things, right? But devotees, they say, I'm so busy following the instructions of my spiritual master and doing my services. I don't care whether I was a gopi or a gopa or a tree or a branch or a grass, whatever I am, that is whenever, but the spiritual master has revealed what to us, that you are Das. That's the biggest revelation of our Siddha Swarup, which we all had forgotten, that we are all servants. We all thought we are masters, but that's the highest revelation they gave. But because, we have that in Hindi, we say Kujli. That each is there of something different, something new, something exotic. When you order online, they have normal vegetables, leafy vegetables, and exotic vegetables. So usually people can buy exotic vegetables would be good. But leafy vegetables are cheap, but they are good for your health also. So don't compare like that. So that doubt comes in our mind, and so many people left Prabhupada and they went and joined all these, Gopi Bhav Club and
Babaji.
Babaji and all of that. So always we should never be in doubt. When in doubt, clarify the doubt. It's so simple. No? I am in doubt, but there are people who are more mature. I go and reveal my mind. When we don't reveal the doubt, that demon kills us within only. And nobody realized that he cancer कब उग रहा था अंदर? When was this cancer building in your this thing? Your doubt, clarify and move ahead.
One question. I about digital detox, very important for many of us. And I'm one of those that, when digital detox, because a lot of time my spiritual activities happen on phone or laptop, either reading or hearing, and things like that. So that's not what you need by that, right? And then, or can you elaborate more on? Like, I'm assuming that you're talking about Facebook or those kind of things, like stay away, cut it from all other social media and outside world and just focus on your own, but still use the digital media. That's
Exactly. No, definitely we are talking of that. However, we all know that initially we very sincerely want to use it only for devotional service. But because Maya is so strong, different things just pop up. And there is just a tendency, "Okay, I will take a detour for 5 minutes." And then when that 5 minutes becomes 2 hours, we don't even realize it. So the practical thing which devotees recommend nowadays is that reading on mobile is good, but there are still books available. So simply Prabhupada said, if anybody even touches my book, it gets. So just to as a protection against not trusting our own self, it might sometimes help, that you just take books instead of for reading part. Of course, emails and all we need to send on this mobile. That also some devotees say, "Okay, I don't do it on mobile, I do it on my laptop or on the tablet, whatever, so that I don't land up." I mean, we have to find our own mechanisms by how not to fall victim to it, because it is like a web. When they say, no, the net of internet, it's a net only. It's a web. We just get so entangled, and before we know, we are into it. So it's just a precautionary word. If we are cautious and all, very good, If we are able to be, then very nice. So this is just to be proactive for that.
Maharaj once said that, see, the basic energy which work in these gadgets is actually to bind the spirits for more material world. So this is actually, these scientific gadgets are created by the illusory energy for what? They're not made by illusory energy to make Jivatmas happy in this world, to make them become more, to suffer more, right? But the way she disguises that very useful, very this, very that, so it comes up in a particular way. But actually it is here to keep people bound to this world. So that is the basic energy which goes behind. The scientists have been used by Maya to create these, what they call as gadgets of mass destruction, as they say, right? Yeah, they're not
Even the children are getting affected because in schools now it is compulsory, one laptop per child. Even in India, even in Gujarat, means places which were so orthodox before, there are international schools have come where it is compulsory, no notebook and pen, only laptop work. When you go home also you have to do on that. Then how can the parents avoid the children from screen time? Because you are being forced to do that. Everybody has to do that. We are okay. We are just feeling bad for you all.
Thank you. Thank you. I have two questions. My first question is like the other side of complaint, being consistent is having a sense of urgency. Is that if I understand right?
correct.
So this is again a personal more to my daily practice that I'm studying. So I get to like my complacent is like I get a hit on my head with some kind of calamity in the family, wherever. And then I'm like, I shake me up and then I'm focused. So I become more duty, I'm like, I'm focused. And then it's like, it goes good, and then again I get back. So it's becoming like a vicious cycle for me. And I'm not feeling very happy with where I'm at, and I want to come up with solutions. I want to break it and stuff. And it's starting, I want to identify where and how to understand.
So you're saying you're going to urgency and competency like that sort of thing?
But then as soon as I get something happens, right, that is like my wake up call. Okay, last 2-3 days, I realize it when I'm chanting also, I realize it. Oh my God, and then I wake up and then a couple of days the chanting was and I'm taken up by that situation.
That's good, I think. Right? So whatever is happening by the situation in your life, actually, as long as we are we are acknowledging those signals. See, signals are coming in everybody's life. But to the level of our sincerity, do we acknowledge the signals and make the changes? Right? We sometimes allow life to go the way it is going. We are all getting signals that I'm going down, we read some symptoms of completion bhakti also. It's all happening sometimes. My interest in deity worship, my absorption in the holy name, and my desire to really hear Hari Katha, or my desire to go to the festival and participate fully, all that is coming down, right? And we sort of allow that to happen, right? If you are getting the knocks and if you are getting the reminder that you are acknowledging that and making the changes, that's nice. That the knocks are coming from the Lord of the heart. That's good. That's good.
And also the frequency remains different, right? Like initially it might happen too much, but now it may happen once in a way. So we are making progress towards it. If we try to just work on it, then we'll go smoothly.
My other question is, Prabhu, I think you mentioned that humility is what attracts the Lord. I understand that for humility, the two important things are tolerance and patience. And I get into phases of which where I struggle with that. And how can I work on it, like on a day-to-day basis? Like, I really want to
Work on developing the qualities of
having that tolerance and patience, because I think those are the two factors to get to the step of humility.
see, some things we actually pray for, right? We acknowledge and we find that yes, on these there's some situations which make me intolerant, and some people make me intolerant, right? So we need to pray, like that I can have to accommodate them the way they are. So part of being tolerant is reconciliation of situation and people around us. Become too intolerant with them, and we react in a particular way. We react in a negative way, right? And misfire in our behavior, in our words, right? But part of tolerance means, yes, Krishna has given this to me, maybe your neighbor, or somebody in the family, your friend, or some god sister, or whatever it is, right? That he is like that, she's like that. So how do I really accommodate? So when this acceptance levels come, that we all on a different, journey, and then if something is happening which is like a cross thing, I'm not able to, then can I at least go to a functional relation with that person? It may not be the best relationship with that person, right? But can I go to a functional level where I can still not be very intimate, and not be very close, not be very thick, right? But rather being intolerant, can I accommodate something and still live together, work together, right? So allow this roughness part to go away and smoothen up some parts we can cooperate and be together. Is it possible to do that?
And the change is the I struggle with my person again.
Can we talk?
This is maybe a little off the today's topic also. Okay, I think all of you are looking sleepy and hungry and tired.
Thank you, but for your attention span.
Last question? Okay,
So this is the question that we should know about that, how to make sure that the balance in our life. Because as you said, there's lack of plus body weakness. If we take rest, we will come, there is some of the there's something with the time I think. When there is work, it's always very remarkable for the time of not then we get last test. How to try and practice what is helped in all these things.
definitely, we need to have our priorities very clear. Part of balancing is about understanding priorities. If everything is equally important, then there's a big problem. The first thing is to strengthen and stabilize our consciousness. Only the clear conscience can we perform our activities in this world also and devotional activities properly. So obviously the first thing which we need to do is to get up early in the morning, send our rounds. If you get up in the morning, what helped us, there was a time when we were not able to get up in the morning too well because and we realized that we are struggling with our morning rounds and how do we really get to having some better standards. So we saw in the road, it was very clear that we are not able to get up in the morning to the extent we want because we are sleeping at 12 in the midnight, sleeping at 11 in the night. So we made a major change a few years back. We decided that we will start winding up the house and all the activities at 9 o'clock and be in bed at 9:30.
And it took some time because we wouldn't get sleep even if we were in the bed. So we took sleeping pills for some time, just to adjust our sleep cycle, to be able to adjust.
It was not it was melatonin.
I mean, that, whatever, medically, whatever.
Melatonin helps you to regulate the cycle. So we did that, whatever. But the point is that we started sleeping early. Automatically, the body, when you sleep early, you get up early, you get up more fresh, and the morning rounds are done. Right? So oftentimes, because we have put Krishna into focus as the first thing in our day, the Lord actually gives us the intelligence to really do things in a better way. Because each day can be very different for a grihastha. Very different, very, right? And to reduce that, tomorrow that is there, tomorrow the child is having an exam. So all sorts of things, different things happen. The husband has got this duty, that duty, some people have shift duties, etc. But the fact that you just put Krishna in the beginning of your day, you will see that you will perform more activities on that day than the day when you do not stand in the morning. So the efficiency in those 24 hours is directly proportional to the amount of focus grounded in the morning. Right? So just try this first before we talk about even other things. Just try to see, get up in the morning and finish those beautiful rounds. Right? And you'll see that you will be much more happy, much more efficient, much more, clear in your thinking, right? And then you can really have with that clear thinking, then you can start planning much better. Otherwise, without that clear thinking, even if you're planning also is all confused planning. This is important, that is important.
And I think 2-3 years back, we did the whole seminar on that Tree of Life seminar, if you remember. I don't know whether you were there. The whole thing was on how to balance. We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah. So yeah, part of balancing means putting Krishna putting Krishna first.
Mataji, once again, we are really, really grateful for all the effort you took for coming here, being here, jet lag, and still sharing your wisdom with all of us.
Does this make sense? This 7 types of is something. Could you connect to these things? How well could you connect? Huh?
So we are always we can find ourselves in these different times.
But yeah, we gave a name to the situation. So now you can, it's easier to identify.
Not a homework there.
They're shades of these.
No, I'm saying the seven is enough homework for a long time, I think.
It's nice.
These names are not there in the Bhagavatam. These names here, where you search, oh, where is it in the Bhagavatam?
It's not a Madhurya Kanamini also, you don't find anywhere in the book of literature. It's just observational, pure observational.
And just that everyone is aware, Prabhuji Mataji is also giving a Sunday feast class tomorrow, right? Tomorrow month. So we have another wonderful opportunity to take association of these celestial souls.
The topic we are taking tomorrow is 10 Commandments for Studies Karna. Dashamula Sutra.
Prabhuji Mataji, yesterday they revealed that, they had a very important counselor meeting and a lot of senior devotees shared their in-depth understanding of sadhana. From there, these commandments came. So it would be kind of, what do you call it, summary and nichod, right? Essence of all different various, counselors, very senior counselors, their own bhakti. So real, going to be real share. So let's resolve to be here, not at 105, but before 1, at least. Right? We should call at least come to Aarti at 12:30, but program start at 12. Right? So please, let's be on time. Let's move as close as possible to the order of spaces there. Thank you very much for being on. And Prasadam is being already started.
Must be over.
Hare Krishna. This gave Dwarikadish Prabhu Jai. I guess the coming Mataji.
So they couldn't see us also. We didn't know Zoom is on.